Say his name and he appears. I believe.
You don't get the satisfaction of hearing it all.
Nope.
WWE didn't believe in him. 3-minute match. 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's all they gave Joe Hendry.
That was short.
Yeah.
We're mad. Ain't that right, Joe? Welcome to the Staying on Topic podcast. Welcome to the Staying on Topic podcast. My name is Ruben.
I'm Vic.
And I didn't know we were starting yet.
Welcome to the Staying on Topic podcast. My name is Ruben.
I'm Vic.
My name's John.
And this is our very special WrestleMania 41 nights 1 and 2. We're probably going to do both of them right now. Review of WrestleMania. Spoiler alert. We thought it was fine.
It's okay.
We thought it was okay.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
Here's the thing. It was one of those things where it's like, and we talked about it right before. One of these nights was like consistently fine. Didn't blow anybody away.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of them started out really good and then progressively got a little worse.
Kind of petered halfway through. But.
So that's probably going to be the topic of discussion at the very end of the episode of like which night we preferred.
I think they were kind of both the same.
Really? No, I think even though we'll get to it at the very end. But we're actually probably just going to jump right into it. We have a lot of stuff to cover. There were 7 matches on both nights, 14 matches in total.
6?
No, 7.
Seven?
Yeah.
7.
Because it was 6 matches.
No, it was 7.
You missed one.
Yeah, you technically
Oh,
you missed it because you left and you thought it was going to be longer than it did. We mentioned it in the cold open, and we'll get to it when we get to it.
It was in the code up, and you know which one he missed.
Yeah, we're all very salty about it.
Nice.
Anyway, I guess we should just start off with
Start
night
from the
one.
beginning.
Yeah, start
Yeah.
from the very beginning.
Night 1.
Night- Night 1. We'll do they do the thing that they always do. It's like, hey, we're at WrestleMania, and then somebody comes out to introduce WrestleMania, and then they do the fireworks, and then the show actually starts. I don't like that. I like when there's like a promo package, and then fireworks happen, and you just get straight into like the first match. I don't like that we have to introduce somebody to then introduce the event for then the fireworks to happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of clunky. I'd rather just get right into the show, and that's it, because it feels like we're just doing it to do it. Especially night 1, Triple H was the one to introduce it, and then he had to come out later when they did the Hall of Fame people, and I was just like, there's a lot of Triple H.
Yeah.
Granted, I hope now that WrestleMania is over, we see him a lot less, or at least we don't see him as much. But anyway, so all that happens, and then the first match to start kicks off WrestleMania weekend, Jey Uso versus Gunther, and what I would say might have been Jey Uso's best match, but also one of Gunther's most boring.
Yeah?
It's a good performance from Jey.
Yeah.
But Gunther could have done better.
But did Gunther not do as well because he knew he was losing the fight?
I think
Losing the belt?
I don't want to be a hater, but I don't know if Jey Uso can get past a certain threshold of wrestling. And
You're not a hater. That's what everybody thinks.
And apparently that's the sentiment. I don't know what the number is now, but when I had saw the post, the video of him winning his match or celebrating the match after was like at 41,000 dislikes to I don't even know how many likes. I'm assuming that number has gone up since then because we're breaking the fourth wall here. We're recording this immediately after night 2. So we've had a day before a day in between to kind of think about night 1, and then you're getting pretty much our genuine reactions of night 2, and where we stand on that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think Jey. I don't want to say he's not good, but I think the caliber of match that you're going to get out of him, it hits a peak. And I know you can get a good match out of Gunther, and I don't know if Jey was able to match that.
I don't know. I've always seen Jey as like, it's okay for like Raw and SmackDown, good matches. Even main event matches in Raw and SmackDown, or maybe every once in a while in an off pay-per-view or something like that. Or being matches in collaborative matches. Back what was it? First one we started with the War Games.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Hey, great, awesome. But he's not a main finisher type of guy. I mean, like wrestling's okay. His move, if I'm just going, see, I have a real issue, and we'll get into this as you'll notice as the night goes on. If the wrestling's kind of mediocre or whatever, the match likeness goes drops way off. And that's what he is for me. I mean, he gets great, crowd reactions, and he's very, very popular. Hey, awesome, good, good job. But I don't think he can carry a belt months at a time.
Yeah.
So
I have a feeling he's gonna lose it immediately.
I had the same sentiment about Gunther too, but I mean, at least he was,
Yeah, I really
he had a persona.
Yeah, I think they fumbled the bag with Gunther's world title reign.
Yeah.
Especially coming off of his 600 plus day Intercontinental Championship reign. They really just dropped the ball on what a Gunther world title reign could have looked like. But yeah, it's just I know you can get a good Gunther match because he's pretty good. And again, I look at Jay and I'm just like, not that I don't think you can't be the guy, because he's insanely popular. We've talked about this already. It only made sense for him to win the title. But now that he's won the title, how long can we keep it up?
Yeah.
Are they going to want to turn on him? Because, and again, it's one of those things you can't take the online sentiment with the actual reaction that he's getting in arenas and stadiums and stuff like that. Because while there's going to be the vocal minority of online fans, you also can't discount them, because most of the online wrestling fans, you could say it's they're just they're fake fans or whatever, but most of the ones that I've seen, they're people who genuinely do care. Granted, there are some bad apples and stuff like that, but
Yeah, but you can say that about anything.
yeah, true. So I see this, I kind of see this negative reaction, and I really don't know how to think, because I will say this: when they started this feud, we were kind of hesitant on it. We were like, we don't really know.
Yeah.
Coming off the Royal Rumble, a lot of people were hating on him winning, and I was like, well, they had 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or whatever to get to WrestleMania. They could
talked about this.
They could turn it around.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought they did. I thought hey, I feel a little bit more invested. Jay, I think it was the week or two after he won, he got that really heartfelt promo of why he's doing this, why he wants to prove himself. And I'm like, okay, this is good story work. And then 2 weeks before Mania, Gunther does the beatdown on Jimmy, and he's rubbing his blood all over him. And it's yeah, this is the level of violence that I feel this feud needs. But then you get to the match, and it doesn't feel like it matches the intensity that we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
It feels kind of, first off, it starts very slow, a lot slower than I think. I think they should have it started hot right out the gate. But Jay kind of takes his time with it, kind of being maybe trying to get in Gunther's head, and I don't think that's, I think for what was happening the 2 weeks leading up to Mania, I think Jay should have just came out from the gate hot, just going at it, giving it pretty much his all.
It would have made for a better match.
Yeah.
It would have made for a little more exciting match. I mean, I don't know. I don't have too much to say about it, because the feud was okay, leading up to it, and Gunther talking his smack that he was talking to him, and you expected Jay to go out there and be really emotional and give a good fight. I don't know. I think he did okay. I think they both did okay, but I don't really have too much. I mean, you can continue on about it, but
Well, yeah, because looking at everything, it was, again, it was fine at best, right? It didn't exceed expectations, but it definitely could have been a lot worse, especially when you look at Jay's Mania match last year with his brother. That's universally hated. Nobody likes it. A lot of people said that was the worst match of Mania weekend last year, which is such a shame, because they had a ton to work with, and it was just poorly built. And I feel that's kind of the sentiment with this year's Mania. It's a lot of poorly built stories, or the focuses are on the wrong things, and it doesn't feel consistent,
Yeah.
And you can also make the argument, this is Triple H's first real WrestleMania with a lot of his stories that he's trying to tell, whereas the last couple, two, Vince McMahon was the stench of Vince McMahon was kind of still there. So this is to me, this is his first real, and I don't know if he hit the mark with some of the stuff. Don't get me wrong, some of the stuff he did do, I think was the right stuff, and we'll get to it when we get to it. But yeah, I'm looking at this opener. This is the opener for the entire weekend. This kind of sets the tone, particularly for night one, but also kind of the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
And again, this match could have been awesome. I really do. I like, maybe not 5 stars, but I definitely would have given it higher than I did. And I guess I'll just say that right before we get to the finish. I gave it 3.5 stars. And I think that was because I think I originally given it 3. And then after sleeping on it for like a day, I was like, I mean, it was better than I think what happened was, and we'll get to it when we get to the second match that happened, was the World Tag Team match. I looked at both of those, and I think I'll just save it for, no, I'll talk about it now.
You can just say it.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
we're gonna get right into it anyway.
So I think in my head I was like, I think the World Tag Team title match had more interesting wrestling. But I didn't want to just rate it on the wrestling. I wanted to rate it on the story. And unfortunately, there was no story with the World Tag Team match. So I had originally given the World Tag Team match higher than the World Heavyweight Championship match. But then I was like, well, at least the opener was trying to tell a story. Whether or not it was good or like,
right.
worth it at the end.
It had some stuff.
Yeah, there were some steps where it's like the World Tag Team match, that could have been on Raw. I 100% think that should have been on Raw. And I'll get more into like my opinions on that in a second. But I think another thing that we see with this Jey Uso Gunther discourse is how it finished. I am not a fan of how the match finished.
Yeah.
That is my personal opinion. I don't like it. I don't like that Gunther tapped out. I don't like that he tapped out to his own move. I think it makes Gunther look a little weak. Because if there's one person who should know how to get out of that move, who knows that move like the back of his head, it's Gunther. Now you can make the argument, he did 2 frog splashes and then went into the choke. Maybe he's winded, stuff like that. Even if that's the case, he tapped out way too quick.
It was kind of quick.
It was like maybe 5 seconds after 5 to 6, 7 seconds after he put it in. I think you sell it a little bit.
Yeah.
Now you can make the argument, he's trying to sell his own move. Tapping out really quickly, it shows how devastating it is when Gunther uses it. But again, I look at it as like, well, Gunther knows the move. Gunther's probably been in the move, testing it out on himself, with somebody doing it to him.
Yeah.
He should know how to withstand it. I think I might have liked it better whether either he taps out, but he takes a little while to tap out, or he just passed out. I think any one of those options would have been better than what we got.
Mm.
Well, it goes back to did he not agree with this? Was he just done with it? Like, okay, cool. He got me in the move. I'm done. That way just to get the match over with.
I don't know. I feel like Gunther's a professional. I don't think he would do something like that. But again, I look at the scenario and it's like, well, what does Gunther do now?
Yeah.
Because now you got main event Jey Uso. And, even though his main event Jey Uso, he doesn't feel main event.
No.
But I also feel like that's just a problem with WWE at the moment. I feel like a lot of the guys that are in the main event, they're either not actually in the main event or they're too busy doing stuff that isn't for the title. Which, again, not every feud needs to have a title. I'm a firm believer of that. But now you got the title on Jey. You got to give Jey some credible wins. So you got to give him like main event guys, but can he go with those main event guys?
Yeah.
And we'll have to wait and see. By the time this goes up, Raw would have already happened. Maybe he already has his first feud lined up. And we'll talk about it once we get to night 2 of who we kind of want maybe to slide into that position.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on from that, we'll go into the next match. It's the World Tag Team title match.
Well, as we're going into that though, you were talking about the whole, talking about this match, right? No build up, no backstory, no, matches don't have to have a feud, but they, it's good to have that, background lore and story, right? That you're building to it.
Some weight.
I'm okay. I'm on the side that's where I'm okay with not every match having a backstory. I'm good with say the 2. Okay, so WrestleMania is now 2 days, right? So I'm okay with maybe the 2 main events, and maybe a belt match, maybe even leading up to it, but it doesn't have to have. I don't think every match has to have story. I think at that point, sometimes it's yes, you're keeping people invested, but you're spreading people's investment thin. And so and that's, like I said, just personal opinion, but if you just come in and you have it was New Day and
the War
Raiders, right? So they have no backstory, but just bring in a a tag team who do you think that is okay enough to contend with, the people who have the belt, and let them have a good match. And if it's a great match and it's a lot of action and it's, a lot of selling and a lot of, it's a great pace, I don't care about story. Other matches where we'll get into those when we get into those, but where they have buildups and it's like, okay, cool, it's making me invested in that storyline. But along the way, I had a cool match. We watched like 3 or 4 really, really good matches that had no story to it whatsoever. But the past couple of pay-per-views, y'all have heard my gripes and grievances. Sometimes it's just like the wrestling's not even there on quite a few matches. And it's like, then at that point, then I'm going to complain even more because it's like, okay, well, you have no story, right? Like I was okay with that. But if you don't have the wrestling as well, it's like, you're like, man, what are you doing? There was one particular match here, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But I just wanted to go off of what you were saying. Like, I'm okay with that. If it had been a great match wrestling wise, it would have been cool.
So here's the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with your sentiment. My counter to that is that this is WrestleMania. It's the biggest show of the year. I think you're kind of obligated to have a story. Because there are people on this, or I shouldn't say it. How do I want to phrase this? There were people not on this card that probably should have been.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look, again, and this is going to be my tiny little rant, and I'm not the only one who feels this way because there was audible boos when this was announced. But I look at this match. That clearly feels like just it was a sponsorship spot for Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
Because one of the story beats that was supposed to be for this match is, the New Day are hated because of how they treated Big E. Big E was nowhere to be found in this match at all. Some people were rumoring that he might interfere or do something with the match. No, he wasn't there. It was kind of just a match that happened. Yeah. It was for the titles. They ended up winning. But I'm like, this could have just been on Raw. In fact, you could do that exact same match tomorrow on Raw, and it'd probably be a lot better. But again, you're on Mania. You kind of have to have like some sort of substance and some sort of story. And you look at the match that we got. The one kind of exclusive tag team match for the men's division. But then you look at the day before. The day before, the Street Profits defended their WWE Tag Team Championships against the Motor City Machine Guns. That match, there's substance, there's story. Dating back to like the Elimination Chamber, I think even the Rumble, that's where they originally started their story. There's stuff there.
So why not have that match on Mania and keep the other one on Raw the week before?
That's what everyone's talking about. That's literally the argument. It's like why isn't this match on Mania? Because then to put salt in the wound, that match ends in disqualification. They then set up a triple threat championship match with a TLC stipulation for the following week's SmackDown.
Which could have been on Mania. Yeah.
It's a 4-hour show. I'm just going to say it now. You gave Joe Hendry 3 minutes, and you're telling me you couldn't find a spot for these 3 teams to go out there and just have a 10-minute,
Stay tuned.
like just TLC goodness. Just have that match. It doesn't have to be super long. Just do all the high spots, whatever. But we got New Day versus the War Raiders.
Well, I am also with the sentiment that I believe. I know some people say, "Oh, you don't have to have title matches at Mania." It's WrestleMania. Maybe not all the rest of them, but at WrestleMania, you should have every title being defended. It's fucking freaking WrestleMania. That's what I expected. But
if they did that, there'd be too many matches. There's too many. There's too many championships. So
no, there's not.
There's the World Tag Team Championships.
Okay, which got defended.
Yeah. Both of the women's Intercontinental and men's or women's United States, women's Intercontinental, women's Championship, women's World Championship, WWE Undisputed Championship, both the tag team matches, the United States Intercontinental, the women's tag championships. So that's like what, like 12?
12.
Yeah, so that's like 12 titles. I'm sure I doubled up on one of them.
Okay, but you said there were 14 matches.
Yeah, but if you have like all the titles, because
it's WrestleMania.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're building feuds like that don't need to have like here's the thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You should be building the feuds throughout the year to lead to WrestleMania. It's a Super Bowl of wrestling. It's a Super Bowl of everything. Now, granted, you can have your great matches at your SummerSlams, your Survivor Series, your Royal Rumbles, but you're building all of those are lead-in matches to WrestleMania. So, okay, maybe you don't have to have all 12, 13, however many titles it was. That's fine. I understand that. But at the same time, like, pack in a couple, three title matches a night, 3 or 4 title matches a night, and have 2 other matches that, that just aren't title matches that were other build-up stories, or just like I said, hey, you're picking a contender who's good. It doesn't have to be a story as long as you have a great match. But I agree with you. The other one should have probably been in there with, maybe a TLC match and triple threat, and, 3-way TLC match. That would've been awesome.
I look at what the story that they're telling, and it's like, there's at least a story there.
But at this point, like, did New Day? I'm still, like I said, get mad to get into it. Did New Day deserve the title shot?
I don't even remember what they did. I don't know if they just got it or they earned it or what.
No, like, in your opinion, I mean, you think they've done enough to like have the belts, or like at this point in time?
How do you feel about them having the belts?
Here's the thing, and this isn't like a New Day or a War Raiders thing. This is purely the tag team divisions
are kind of lame right now.
Yeah, they're kind of the afterthought.
From what I've seen,
they're kind of the afterthought.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
And I don't know. Used to not be like
and
that.
I don't know if because like that used to be the sentiment with Vince. Vince hated tag team wrestling. Like he never gave a hoot about it.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like Triple H doesn't give a hoot about it either.
Yeah.
Which is weird because he was in one of the
biggest
ultimate biggest tag teams ever with DX.
Yeah.
Like, and then Evolution, Stable. It's like why don't you care? Yeah. Or why does it feel like you don't care? So I don't know. It's just like the tag team belts on both brands, for the men's and even the women's. I think the women's is also an afterthought. I'm surprised they haven't gotten rid of those yet. Like, honestly, because they got rid of them in NXT, which is crazy to think that they got rid of them in NXT because like I feel like NXT has exclusively just women now, or at least it feels that way.
Wow.
Like there's so many women on the NXT roster.
Yeah.
But
also, is it an issue then WrestleMania not being able to have title matches because there's too many belts? Is there too many belts? Should it be, hey, you have one men's champion, one women's champion, one men's tag champion, one women's, like how it used to be? Like, I know that was many, many, many years ago, but like
one unified.
I get confused. When you brought me back into wrestling, I was just like, oh, I thought they were the champion. You're like, no, they're the champion for SmackDown. You're the champion for Raw. And it's like, well, I'm totally damn lost. Like, I understand there used to be, U.S. title and Intercontinental. And, but I mean, it was never like separated.
So this isn't an unpopular opinion, I feel like, but I've shared this sentiment for a while because I really did think it worked back when they were trying to do it back in like 2016, 2017. I think, again, I'd probably get a lot of heat for this, but that's my opinion. I think we should go back to the proper brand split where Raw and SmackDown have their own exclusive pay-per-views. That way you give people more time. Because unfortunately, the world we live in now, we have these 3 to 4 hour pay-per-views with like 5 matches on them, and not everybody can just have their time to shine. Now, granted, you could say, well, you could just have these championship matches on Raw and on SmackDown to boost viewership. I still feel like that's not enough time to give people.
Why not make it a 5-hour show then?
That's a lot. Oh, like a pay-per-view?
Yeah.
You could. But like you also see that with like AEW where they do have these like 5-6 hour shows and people get burnt out after like hour 3. So like it's one of those things where it's just like you got to find a balance, right? Of like how long you need to make a show to make it feel like it's worth it to go and watch it, but like also give people the time that they need to kind of shine. Because if there's one thing that happened with night 1, a lot of these matches are short. They're like 10 minutes maybe. And then you get to the main event, which is like 30 something.
But you can also give people time to shine, like you said, SmackDown and Raw throughout the year. Have throw in 3 more events throughout the year. I mean, just to have extra time. You don't people's attention spans. You can't have a 5-hour show, right? And, I like, that would be cool to me, but not everybody likes that. But yeah, have 3 extra shows throughout the year, and just I don't like the split. The way it's, how they have it different. It's different rosters and different belts. And I personally, as in, watching from a long time ago, I don't like it. I hate that it's separate. I wish it could just be, hey, people, sometimes they're on Raw, sometimes they're on SmackDown, sometimes. I guess they're doing it because to give more people, right, viewership on SmackDown and viewership on Raw. And sometimes you can have like the same people. I guess that was the issue, right? You can have the same superstars on Raw that are on SmackDown, and people don't get their shot.
The original problem was Because the problem with doing something like the brand split is like one show is always going to be clearly better than the other. Like,
or paid attention to more.
yeah, like
I mean,
like back in the day when they did the original brand split.
Yeah. I hated
SmackDown was the better show. And it was clearly the better show. And then when they did it again, SmackDown was also the better show, because their rosters were just better. Like, and unfortunately, when that happens, you know, you can sell tickets to the SmackDown pay-per-views, but then the Raw pay-per-views are going to struggle because they might not have as much star power. So like that's the reason why I get why they don't do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think another reason why I liked it was because since Raw had their own exclusive pay-per-views and SmackDown had their own exclusive pay-per-views, they had an extra month in between to tell longer stories. So instead of 4 weeks and then you do the pay-per-view, now you have 8 weeks and then your pay-per-view. So there's more of a build you can do. Whereas like now it seems like, you know, it's let's just go. Let's move. Or like they want to retroactively artificially keep stories going.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just finishing right out the gate.
Well, that's another thing. Do you think they keep stories going for too long?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
100%,
think
right?
that's a Triple H thing.
Oh,
I think
okay.
he likes long-term booking. But then he'll like kind of not necessarily give up, but he'll overextend it. Like the most recent example, I was very over the whole Rhea versus Liv stuff.
Yeah.
And it kept retroactively
it kept coming back,
elongating it.
Yeah.
So that way Rhea could take the title off of Liv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only for her to lose it to Io.
Yeah.
Like a month later or whatever. Like I didn't care. Like and that's the thing, right? Not everything needs to be super long. Like we don't need a Roman Reigns 1,300 whatever day title reign.
Yeah.
Like in fact, I don't want to see anybody do that ever again. Or at least until after I die. You know, like I don't need it. I don't want it. We don't need it. You know, I look back at like Bruno Sammartino with like his like 8-year reign or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, that was cool for the time because like wrestling, you know, is a lot more not believable, but like it was more hokey and like stupid and like having somebody with a long title reign like that, like there was like the legitimacy of stuff.
The first time I saw that was like back in WCW with Goldberg. You know,
his long undisputed streak.
Yeah. It was okay, but I mean, you can't have that all the time. And I mean, a year, 2 years, like, oh god, that's just it's too long. Like, progress the story, please.
Yeah.
We're getting off topic as usual, but okay, back into
So
anyway,
match
the
3.
mediocre men's tag match.
Yeah, could have been on Raw.
Yeah,
replaced it with the WWE Tag Team Championship TLC match that's going to be on this next. And granted, here's the thing: I'm saying, like, hey, it should have been on Mania. At the same time, people are also getting it for free on cable. I mean, cable's not free, but like, it's just going to be on SmackDown. You can just watch it. Like,
Just watch it.
Yeah.
Like it's not pay-per-view.
yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to buy it. Or
You don't
whatever.
have to pay per view.
Yeah. So like, that's cool, but at the same time, it should have been on Mania.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I had it at 3.5. I then bumped it down to 3.25.
You talked yourself down.
Yeah, I talked myself down because I was like, well, at least Gunther Jay has a story. This is kind of just a match that they did.
Well, what you didn't get the we didn't get the what did you give Jane Gunther?
It was about the same. It was maybe like a 3.5.
I gave it right
3.5.
mid 2.5.
Again, it was fine. It didn't need to be on here. Anyway, we're gonna get to the next match, which was.
But I think I gave the tag match about 2.5 as well. I gave him about the same rating.
Yeah, it was about the same for me. Yeah.
So next match.
Yeah, anyway, this was like, I don't want to say it was a stinker, but
Oh yeah.
You can call it what it is.
This is more of a Jade Cargill problem, and not to say that she's a bad wrestler or anything. It's just, I believe this is like her first like real big singles match.
Yeah.
And she's been kind of covered up in the tag division. And I'm not saying this like exposed her or anything, but she didn't look the greatest.
Yeah.
Like, and she's being presented as this like unstoppable, unbeatable, kind of like strong, powerful woman. And I'm not saying she's not. She clearly has the look. She clearly is strong.
She's got the muscle.
Yeah, she's got the look. She is exactly what WWE is looking for. Unfortunately, like,
But it wasn't there.
Her matches are just not super great. Like, and there were some fun spots. Like, I'm not saying the match was like abysmal. I gave it 3 stars. Like, I thought it was fine. It's definitely like the worst match of the night.
I gave it 2.
It just wasn't super compelling, and it's a lot of Naomi, bless her heart, too. Not really carrying the match, but definitely like leading the
trying
charge.
her heart out.
Like leading the charge because she knows. You know, she's been working with. You know, she was tagging with. It was when it was her and Bianca and Jade. You know, they did the trio stuff. They tagged last year at WrestleMania. Like, I think she understood what her limitations were, and she made the best of what she could do.
Yeah.
Because Naomi, again, super great. I wish they'd give her the title. I think she's only held the title like once in her entire career, which I think is a travesty. She's definitely one of the better workers that's currently on the roster. But yeah, I don't think, I don't know if Jade's ready for these big marquee
And it showed
matches.
I mean,
like, I really do think she needs to like train a little bit more, because like I don't remember the last like big like not even just big but like singles match, because like she's a lot of the time she's in multi-man matches
yeah.
or like triple threats or tag matches, some matches that like she might not have to do a whole lot because the other person the other people could just do stuff.
Because there's
Yeah.
two other
Yeah,
people
so it's like she doesn't have to worry
supporting
about it.
that match. Right.
And this is the one thing, I'll talk about AEW, but when she was in AEW, I think they knew what to do with her. Like legitimately, she, they did a thing where she was like undefeated, like 40 something and 0, and then she finally lost. But like, I think they knew what to do with her. Like they knew the limitations that she had. They knew how to work around it. And they always made her look strong. And I don't know. I think they look at Jay and they're like, yes, you have everything that we need, but they don't want to take the time and actually like make sure she's doing super well. Like I think she should, and this again, I'm not knocking her or anything, but I think a stint, maybe like a year stint in NXT could help, where you're also fighting people who are trying to get better at wrestling.
Yeah.
Well,
if I watched the replay, right? So afterwards. So I basically kind of just skipped ahead the whole match because it was just like, it's kind of boring. Hopefully the next one's gonna be better. After the first two, it was like, all right. And I was thinking about that, like you were like, I was like, okay, I gotta keep ratings in my head and kind of stuff I liked and didn't like, and it was just like very uneventful and just kind of it was all right. No, Naomi did okay, did good, and
Yeah.
that's why I was like, I'm gonna give it a 2. And so if I find myself, that's how I usually kind of gauge it. If I find myself skipping through the match, it's like, oh my god. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
you got anything to say, Vic?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was kind of mediocre. Yeah, I mean, same thing I felt about the first 2 matches. It's like, cool. Good wrestling, I guess.
Yeah. No, that
Yeah.
it was just like
Yeah.
okay, we watched it.
Right, because, spoiler alert, I'm still getting used to all of this wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not that into the stories like Ruben is.
Yeah.
And I don't have the experience like John does. So I'm kind of seeing this as like, if the wrestling's cool, I like it. If there's a story, I'll look at the recap they have in the beginning and
Well, yeah,
whoa.
but you're also like, here's the thing. I also think it's important to have that perspective, right? Because, and we've talked about this before, every wrestling event has to be someone's first wrestling event, right?
Mhm.
So there's going to be people. In fact, shout out to Deporticus, YouTuber, who's been on his wrestling journey. But he literally started watching wrestling only like 2 years ago, because WrestleMania 39 was on Peacock, and he just happened to watch it, and then he fell in love with it, and now he's like on his wrestling journey, kind of like what Vic's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there has to be that like the thing that like grabs you in, and when you have like these kind of like 3 matches that are kind of just like like doesn't make people want to stay.
There was one thing in that match that I liked, and I'm pretty sure it was this one. It was it this one or was it the Charlotte versus where they were kind of going from like move to move to move.
I think that was
like
I don't
one
think that was-
move would turn into another move, would then turn into another move, like almost seamlessly. That might have been the
Yeah, I think that was in the
might have been the
Charlotte match. I don't
fight.
think it was in this match.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to
Yeah.
it. Because I think 2 of us have differing opinions on the match. But anyway, yeah, it was it was mid.
Yeah.
Again,
It was all right.
I think Jade should have a little stint in NXT. Again, not knocking her. I just think she could use the training. Like I really do. Anyway, now we get on to where the show kind of starts picking up a little.
Yeah.
With this banger of a match. I say banger. It's still less than, to me, it's still less than 4 stars. It would have been 4 stars had the finish be a little different, just slightly different.
Banger in comparison.
Yes. So we got LA Knight, defending his U.S. title against
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought this was the actual like first like good match of the night. Like I was like, it did what it was set out to do. LA Knight looked pretty decent. Because again, he's not like the greatest wrestler in the world, but I think he's very entertaining at what he does. The crowd really likes him. They like doing the yeah. You know, who doesn't like doing the yeah? And then Jacob Fatu
Yeah.
looked really good, looked really menacing. I was honestly expecting Solo to come out and interfere. I actually thought Jacob might lose, and I thought they were going to do like a story of Solo costing Jacob the title, and then Jacob gets mad and like maybe leaves the bloodline or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that
then it goes on with their feud,
but I think they can still do that, and they'll just do it later.
Yeah.
Like he costs him the title instead.
Yeah.
Like now that he just costs him the title. They can still tell that story.
Yeah.
Well, I've been on a LA Knight kind of like going back and watching his. You say he's not the greatest wrestler. I mean, but he's very entertaining in all the matches that I've seen him in, and it's just like this one. I expected it to be the same thing. Like, hey, this is pretty good, you know, and it was very entertaining. It wasn't the first three, you know. That match was like, okay, hey, now I'm watching WrestleMania, even though you know, like a lower card WrestleMania, but it was good.
Well, I think it's because there's a big contrast in styles, right? I feel like Jacob
Wrestling
has
styles,
this very intense, aggressive style, and you look at LA Knight, and it's not. I don't want to say tame, but it feels very kind of like John Cena.
Sort of, but he can move.
Yeah, he can move. He's very athletic. I'm not saying
Yeah,
I'm not saying like John Cena as in like he like it's boring or anything, but like it can be kind of formulaic. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the intensity that Jacob brings, he's a fucking star.
Yeah.
He is so cool to watch. You know, night one, we didn't watch night one together, so I was watching it with like my immediate family, and the reactions they would give when Jacob would do anything, like intense, they were just like, "Whoa, this guy, you know, he's kind of crazy. You know, he has the crazy eyes and everything. Like he looks deranged."
That's how I felt when we first watched War Games.
Yeah.
And he came out, I was like, wow, who's this dude?
That's an animal.
I'm going to start watching his matches because it's energy, right? You know, that's what you expect. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there was a really cool spot where Jacob, he's going to go do his moonsault.
Yeah.
And then LA Knight barely, it still looked cool, but he barely caught him. It was a moonsault into a BF, the Blood Force trauma. And I'm like, that's a cool spot.
Yeah.
And it's a 2 count. And I was like, oh my God. Like, what's going to happen? I honestly, I don't even remember. Oh, no, I do remember the finish. I forget. Jacob Fatu hits him with something, and then he hits 2 moonsaults. And the reason I didn't give it 4 stars is because I wanted one more. I think 2 was odd. I think 1 more would have sold it for me. I gave it 3 3/4. I think to get that 4, he would have had to hit a 3rd one.
Yeah.
For me personally. But I'm not saying this match was bad by any means. In fact, I could be, if I'm being real, it's probably 4. But
I'm
gonna say
it a 4.
There's no shame in giving it a 4.
Yeah. I gave it a 4.
Four's pretty good.
I gave it a 4 because, and it might have deserved a 3.5 to 3 3/4, but I gave it a 4 because we just came off the first 3 matches. And I was like
a breath of fresh air.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It was like, oh my God.
Okay, this is good.
Yeah.
I'm liking it. Awesome. And that's what I mean. They didn't have too much. I'm trying to watch Raw and SmackDown, you know, so if I say something wrong, don't hate me for it. Has there been a lot of buildup between them two lately? It's very little, right?
Yeah, it's like, and that's a much bigger problem of like the builds are kind of just like whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So not too much buildup, but a good match.
A good match. Yeah.
So you know, two guys who are like mid card guys, and you know, and it was very entertaining. And so
yeah, definitely we were sports entertained.
Yeah, as we always like to say, we were very sporty.
Good finishing, good. Well, except for the 3rd moonsault, but you know, hey,
1 more.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And then I was hoping that it would continue going this way.
Here's the thing, it did for some of us.
It was like this. There's varying opinions on this table.
Here's the thing. It was like I'm gonna do it this way for the video people. It was like this, and then we get to this match, and then for me, unfortunately, I've seen online sentiment it still go this way. Unfortunately for me, on Rey Fenix versus El Grande Americano, it went like this again, and then it goes back up for me personally. Not to say I don't think this match is good. It's very short. I think it's like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. And unfortunately, this was El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio unfortunately hurt himself on SmackDown during his match, which is such a shame.
And I know they've been building this kind of like, you know, El Grande Americano crap, but
no, because that's exactly what it is. It's crap.
It's crap. It's crap. It's
no offense.
So,
I get why
dumb.
I get why some people think it's funny, but like it's also one of those things where it's like it's like weirdly like unironic because like the whole point is they're like making fun of Lucha,
Exactly.
but they also have him keep winning.
Yeah.
And it's kind of slap because not only that,
I don't like his wrestling. I mean,
here's the thing. Chad Gable is a good wrestler. I think Chad Gable is very entertaining, but this El Grande Americano stuff is really crap.
yeah.
It's kind of just dumb, just to like do it.
And I'm not averse to them having a lucha match. You know, hey, two luchadors in the match. That would have been awesome. It's some of my favorite wrestling.
I grew up on that wrestling.
Yeah, same. You know.
Yeah, we're
But
all Latinos here.
yeah, I know. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
But they could have had Rey Fenix versus someone else, and it would have been. I think the match would have been so much better. I understand it was because he took the place of Rey, and okay, whatever. And they had build up between him and Americano, and
Yeah,
it was
again,
just like,
it's one of those things where it's unfortunate that Ray got
Yeah.
injured.
yeah. And just like I don't know, it would have sucked to see Ray do the match and then lose like that.
Oh yeah,
too.
here's the thing. I don't think the finish was gonna change.
That's what I'm saying.
Or they were gonna, because I will say this: as much as I want to crap on El Grande Americano, I did like the finish.
I did.
So basically, the finish goes. Ray Phoenix does like his like tightrope walk kick thing, and he kicks El Grande Americano in the face. But
He had
he
put
has
a-
the metal plate in there,
Yeah.
which
That he secretly put in there.
So he hurts his foot on the kick,
Yeah.
and then he sells it on the floor, and that's when El Grande Americano does the comeback, does the flying headbutt, which I think is kind of crazy that they're allowing him to do that, considering that's a very infamous thing that someone else did that we shouldn't be talking about.
Yeah.
So
It looks similar to like.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's I don't know, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I was just like,
Well, no, I think it bothered me so much because like I said, I love the action. I'm more action than story, and it's like you could have put somebody else with him in this match would have been. I like I know I just started recently learning about Ray Phoenix and watching his matches, and it's just like man, everyone that I've seen, it's a lot of action. It's very high pace, very a lot of cool moves.
Yep.
And put him with somebody else. And the it would have been a middle of the show, right? It was middle, yeah.
Yeah, it was like
right after
there
middle.
was like
or-
2 matches
yeah.
left after
Yeah.
this.
And it would have been a good match after the
The big
Jacob
one.
match, yeah.
Yep.
And it was just like, oh man, you're gonna have. I didn't think the El Grande Americano. I didn't think that belonged in WrestleMania. That could have been like on where are they on? Is that on Raw or SmackDown? Raw. Yeah, it could have been on Raw.
No, I agree. I don't think they've done this story long enough to have it at Mania.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the only reason they would have done it is because they wanted to give Ray something to do at Mania, and then unfortunately Ray
Yeah.
gets hurt. So, but they don't want to like call off the match,
yeah.
so they have to put Ray Phoenix in that spot.
Yeah,
Um,
it's an unfortunate.
Yeah, and I think the worst part about it is like, we're talking about, or I was talking about, I should say, how it feels like this is kind of like a slap in the face to Lucha,
Yeah.
and they just acquired AAA,
Yeah.
and I'm like, they're gonna have El Grande Americano go over to AAA. He's gonna win the AAA title, and it's
That
gonna be
would be-
a
that
bunch.
would be
It's gonna be it's
horrible.
gonna be a huge slap in the face to AAA.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I liked it because Ray Phoenix did like he just came into WWE, right?
yeah, like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and he's in WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Like, and it's like, and you're gonna have him lose. Having him win would have been so much better. I think it would have gotten like, I don't know. I think it would have been a better build. And hey, we stopped the old Grande Americano from making a mockery of Lucha.
If they would have done Lucha right, then they could have done like the whole infamous like him taking off the mask off of him.
yeah,
That
and
would have been
finishing-
like, oh my
and finishing the
God,
story. It's
that is
WrestleMania.
classic.
Yes, that's what I was
Classic.
expecting. And he just, oh look, flying headbutt, and I win. What? Like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
the only way I could see this storyline being actually worth it is if El Grande Americano is actually not Chad Gable. That's the only way I'd actually be kind of okay with
You know
it.
what's hilarious? When they were announcing them, they were like, "Who is that behind the mask?" It was like, "No, is it this person? No, I'm pretty sure they took a picture of, and there were both of them. They were like, oh, so it can't be him." It's like, all right.
Yeah, but like I said, it's just like honestly, it's kind of just crap. It's like it does feel just like they're kind of like shitting on Lucha, which is crazy because they have a ton of Lucha people.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
they could have had somebody
Yeah.
else in there.
Oh my God.
It would have been a great match.
Like-
Oh, man.
I don't know.
But no. Now that Vic said that, now it makes me even more mad because that would have been a great finish.
That would have been great, right?
It would have finished the storyline. And now, okay, he's been revealed. No more El Grande Americano.
Well,
we just acquired AAA. Great, it's a good thing.
I wonder if they had something more, but because Ray got hurt, they don't want to do it yet.
Okay,
Oh.
have Ray
maybe-
finish
like-
it
like-
out.
saving it for him?
Like maybe if they wanted to do the spot Vic's talking about, they want Ray to do it to have like
Okay.
more of an impactful
Alright.
I
thing.
get it. Okay,
Sure,
I can,
sure.
and that'll be on Raw, right?
Yeah, it's probably going
Oh,
wrong.
okay, cool.
But again, at the same time, don't do the match.
yeah.
Like because at this point it was a match on Mania. It was just to
exactly.
have a match on Mania because
Yeah.
you didn't want to not do it.
What'd you give the match?
What did I give them? I gave it 3.5 stars.
3.5?
Because here's the thing, it's very short, but the stuff that they do
Yeah.
is pretty fun.
Oh, it's
like
really-
like
it's-
when El Grande Americano is the 540 or whatever,
Yeah.
and like and in my head I'm like, if that is Chad, holy crap,
Yeah.
Chad Gable was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I gave it 3.5. If it didn't end the way it ended, I probably would have given it a
But
4.
if I higher,
or 4.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a bad match. It's just it's short, and we're just not super into
Yeah.
it, And I think when you're not super into it, you're gonna give it a little bit of a lower
You're
score.
a bit of a bias.
Much like this next match for one of us. So we get the match that I was probably the least looking forward to, that I gave the second highest score,
Yeah.
and that was Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. Shout out to Tiffany Stratton's teeth. I think they got chipped, but apparently they're fixed now.
That's great.
Yeah, I was the weeks leading up to this, I was really not interested in this feud at all. I really could not care any less about Charlotte Flair. I really can't.
Yeah.
And I
Same.
not that I don't necessarily want her to like go away, but I think Charlotte Flair is at a point in her career now. She just got off of this really long ACL injury. I don't necessarily know if she can go how she used to. And you can kind of see it in the match. She kind of was like, not necessarily that it felt like she missed a beat, but like, I think she's still trying to do the style she was before she got injured.
Yeah.
And I think she has to transition into a new style.
Yeah.
And
It definitely felt clunky.
yeah, but I also think that's what they were leaning into, because weirdly this feud got like real personal, because Charlotte decides, hey, I'm gonna start saying some real stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start going off the script, and Tiffany, being the rookie, thinks, oh well, now I should start doing that to be like, hey, I actually am on the level. So they have this like weird build of like, what's real, what's not. Like, do we actually kind of hate each other? And I think it kind of did work, because like in the match they're kind of stiff. They kind of like they kind of look like they want to hurt each other at certain points. And I think that actually worked to their detriment. Or detriment to their like their advantage, yes. But yeah, I thought this match was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I was really not looking forward to this match. I gave it a better score than everything else that preceded it. I gave it just exactly 4. I thought it was exactly a 4-star match. I didn't think it exceeded anything after that. I thought there were some pretty fun spots that were going on.
I did like the wrestling on this one. There was it wasn't for the whole match, but definitely towards the middle and the end, it was like, dang.
And they did what I wanted the Jay Gunther match to do. They just immediately just go at it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
There was no like rest holds or just collar and elbow tie ups. It was just they just went at it. And I thought that's what this feud kind of needed. That this entire time they've been kind of just at each other's throats, and now they're finally going at it. Just go at it hot. So yeah, I wasn't looking forward to this match. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to see Charlotte Flair for like a while. Like, and this is what I mean by, I think Charlotte Flair is at a different point in her career now. First off, I don't think we need to do the thing of, she needs to have as many championships as her dad, because who freaking cares? Honestly, one of the things that I loved about the Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair feud is at one point Tiffany does say, it's like, oh man, you have all these championships. That means you're just a big loser or something to that degree. And I'm like, yeah.
How many championships does you have?
She is I think at 14 right now. So she has 2 more to tie her dad.
Jesus.
And I'm like,
so she's lost and won the championship 14 times? Yeah. That makes me hate her even more.
yeah.
No wonder. Man, see, I'm very vocal tonight.
And here's the thing that I know
2.5. That's what it got for me. 2.5.
I know why they put her in these positions.
Why?
Because at least she's consistent. Like, again, I looked
the
at
match was kind of. I mean, yes, they had some action, but it was kind of boring.
To you, like, I thought it was pretty good for what it was. Like, the one thing I will always give Charlotte Flair credit is when she needs to have a big match, and it feel like a big match, she goes out there and she delivers, regardless of if the feud is like decent or terrible or whatever. She'll go out there and she'll have a good match. Like I remember WrestleMania 39. She has her big match against Rhea Ripley. Everybody universally like praises it, and I thought the match was like fine at best. Like I was just like, oh, it's fine, But everybody really loves that match. But I went back and rewatched it. I was like, yeah, I was a little too harsh on this match. It's actually pretty good for what it is. But I think that's just Charlotte. I think Charlotte, when she needs to turn it on, she turns it on. It's just most of the time when they need her to turn it on, she also wins.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to win. Especially now, we have such a big women's roster. There are so many people that weren't on this show that probably could have been. Chelsea Green, the first ever WWE United States Women's Champion, wasn't on the show. She didn't defend her title. And I'd argue she's one of the bigger girls in the company. She's super entertaining. Her wrestling's pretty good. She has a good gimmick. The fact that she wasn't on WrestleMania was kind of a travesty. But then again, I look at this match. I look at Charlotte Flair, and I'm like, I get why you're here. I don't necessarily want you here, but I get why we're doing it. And Tiffany Stratton wins, and that was the right call.
Yeah.
I think if Charlotte Flair had won, this 4-star match for me would have gone down tremendously. Because I don't think Charlotte Flair is at a point in her career now where she needs to have all these accolades. I think now she's at the point where she needs to start giving back. Because she's been on top from like 2015 to like, I'd say like 2022, like right before she got injured. She was pretty much on top the entire time. There's been very rare cases where she hasn't been on top. I think now you need to start thinking about the future. Like Tiffany Stratton, like a Roxanne Perez, the people that are going to be around a lot longer. Not to say Charlotte's old, but she's getting to a point where maybe she wants to start doing stuff that's not the wrestling, or maybe she just wants to be in wrestling forever. I don't know. But I look at Tiffany and I look at Roxanne that are in like their early 20s that are probably going to be here for the next 10 years. Let's start building up those people and acknowledge that what Charlotte Flair can bring, but start building up these people. And that's why when we get to night 2 and the certain person comes back and now they're tag champions with this person, Lyra Valkyria, I'll just say it. I think Becky can now help elevate Lyra to get to where she needs to be. Because, I feel like they didn't give her the mid-card women's title for nothing. I feel like you need to build her to get to a certain point. And I think having this match with Charlotte, I think Tiffany is now elevated and she's more credible. And I think that's the thing she really needed was this credibility.
Well, I think that for me, the reason I gave it a 2.5, if Charlotte would have won, it would have went to like a 2, 1.5. It just would have been so off for me. I think the build up to this was a detriment. I didn't like the build up. I didn't like the backstory. I didn't like the feuding. That just made me not want to watch the match. And watching the match was like, eh. The only great thing I think about the match was Tiffany won. And that's it. Personal opinion, whatever. Differing opinions. But I wasn't entertained that well. I don't know. That's just, like I said.
I give it a good 3.5. Pretty average. 3.5. Maybe 3 if the wrestling was worse. But there was some wrestling that I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, there was some wrestling.
There was some cool. So I gave it like
I think I have a real bias because I don't like the characters. So
here's the thing. That also seems like the great thing about doing this the day after night 1 is that you can see the online discourse. Apparently, for this particular match, you either liked it or you didn't. Yeah. Like that's just kind of how it is. I liked it. John kind of didn't. Yeah. And that's okay. You can like what you like. You can like what you don't like. But speaking of liking something a whole lot, we get to the main event, and
for day
this
one.
Main event.
Did you say liking something a whole lot?
Yeah.
That's funny.
This is another thing that's been happening.
This is gonna be a John hot take because I think John sees the finish of this match and he lets the entire finish negatively impact how he feels about the whole match. So we get to the main event.
Main event.
We get Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and look. Hindsight's kind of 20/20 because what happens at the end Seth Rollins kind of teases in his entrance. He comes out in all black. He has his flamethrower. He's burning it all down.
Yeah.
And then after that, he lights go out. He's
Costume change.
Yeah, he comes back and he's all in white. He's transformed. He's moving to like the next thing, which is kind of foreshadowing his eventual turn later on. Which I thought, looking back, hindsight, that's pretty good.
It's good foreshadowing.
So then we also get Roman's entrance, which is super long
Of course.
because it's Roman Reigns and you
Yes.
can't have it. But the
Point
interesting thing is, I believe it's his first entrance by himself in like a long time. He's always had Paul Heyman by his side, and you can kind of see it on his face of like kind of like not necessarily distressed, but like he's all alone. I look back to the build with Roman and Cody, and Cody kind of telling him was like, look at all these things, all this, blah 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 blah. A chief without a tribe, and now Roman's living that reality. He's a chief without a tribe. He's all on his own, nobody around. He's literally alone, and you can see it throughout the match. Like, we'll talk about it when we get to. Anyway, so
When we're there, go ahead.
well, I want to talk about CM Punk real quick.
Okay.
Because they have CM Punk. They
This
give
is
him
the intro section.
they give him a hype package, and they use this fire burns his original theme, and I fucking lose it.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap!
Yeah. I did not know that was his original entrance.
Yeah.
And
I knew because he
being
showed
a
it to me.
fan
Yeah.
of that song and just, oh man, I was just like, which made the match was instantly going to be like, oh my God, it's going to be the best fucking match of the night. Go ahead.
Anyway, so he comes out with that hype package, and apparently on videos that I've seen on TikTok, people are singing that song in the stadium, and I'm like, I'm glad that people know the words to that. Like I feel like we haven't heard that song
I was
in
singing
years.
it to myself. Yeah.
I was just like, this is great. So then he also comes out, Living Color comes out and plays him out. Comes out with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman does the little, show him the watch, just clobber in time stuff. Then we actually get to the ring. Match starts, and the match is really good. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of good stuff happening. Let's see. Oh, that's my Charlotte Flair notes. But yeah, the crowd very hot.
Yeah.
Pretty much the entire match. Didn't really slow down. But I think I don't know if this is necessarily the sleeper of the match, but I think this is one of Roman Reigns' probably better matches. Not saying that any of his matches have been like complete garbage or anything, but Roman really sells the idea that he's in distress over every little thing that's happening. Like the fact that Paul Heyman's not in his corner, he's giving Punk advice. Rollins is doing his thing. And Roman's just there, kind of not knowing really what to do.
Yeah.
And that also plays into like the finish. And I'm like, yeah, I think Roman is doing the most with what is going on currently. And I just thought that was really cool. And there's a lot of really cool and neat spots in this. Like they do a bunch of different things where like Roman does a spear. Roman goes to spear Rollins, but then he like turns it into a pedigree as he's getting speared.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's such a unique spot.
Yeah.
And then they also do a spot where I think Roman spears Rollins, and then Punk hits the GTS on Rollins.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like really cool back and forth
Back
stuff
and forth,
like that, and I was just like, that's really interesting. At one point they do, I don't know if it's after this spot or later. I think it's like hits a GTS into a spear into a stomp.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. It's a little trifecta of moves.
I like when they
Yeah.
do stuff like that. It's
But yeah,
pretty fun.
anyway, we get to a point in the match where Punk's on the outside and Rollins is trying to convince Reigns, like, hey, he's the outsider. He's the enemy. We need to team up together.
Yeah.
It could be just like the old days. And there's a period of time where he
thinking about
Rollins goes to do the shield bomb,
Yeah.
and Roman thinks about it. And then you think he's going to do it. And then he just punches Rollins in the face because there's still that little bit of Reigns
Yeah.
that can't fully trust Rollins
Yep.
and doesn't want to trust Rollins. And that like little things like that I think are just so cool. Like, because it's a callback from like 10 years ago, of like the shield turn. And like, again, for somebody like Vic who doesn't know anything about that,
I was like,
yeah, it's like, who cares? But like for me,
Yeah.
who saw the shield turn live, having these little callbacks is really cool. So anyway, this is actually my my in real time notes of like most of the stuff that was going on. So Rollins and Reigns team up. Roman conflicted. Shield bomb, because at the time I thought he was gonna hit the shield bomb, and I just put lol, guess not. And then after
That's
all that
funny.
happens, Roman gets like super emotional, like out of nowhere. I think it's after he power bombs both of them into the tables. And then they do this like exchanging submission moves. Punk hits the Anaconda Vice on Roman, and then Rollins puts a sharpshooter on Punk. Yeah, it was just like it was pretty decent. There was one spot though, and I don't remember how it happens or how they get there. But something happens, and then everyone's down, and then Punk goes to pin Rollins, and then he kicks out. I think Rollins hits a stomp on Reigns, and then like hits a GTS, and then Punk hits a GTS on Rollins. But he goes to pin Reigns or pins Rollins, and he kicks out at 2. And in my head, I'm like, well, now go pin Reigns.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that. He just kind of just sits there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's kind of dumb. Like you should go and pin Reigns. Like you might not get the 3, but you might get 2. You might as well try. You know, I feel like anybody else would have done that. I feel like Reigns would have done that. Rollins probably would have done that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. It was odd.
Maybe that was a precursor to the end.
Maybe. Yeah. So anyway, after that happens, we get the Paul Heyman spot. Paul Heyman goes, grabs a chair,
Yeah.
and they do the
choose.
So they did the spot that I thought was he was going to throw it in the middle,
Yeah.
and then like let them kind of fight over it. But no, he chooses Punk.
Yeah.
He's like, here you go, Punk. You can have the chair. Another thing that I've seen people kind of like, oh, that's odd, was he gives him the chair, but then Paul goes into the ring.
Yeah.
But it kind of just happens. Like it doesn't happen organically. Like
No.
why would there be a reason to have him in the ring? He kind of just
No, when he came in the ring, it was like super like, oh God, what's gonna happen?
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't know. I took that as like, well, he's helping Punk up. Because at that moment, Punk had been getting hit by both of them a lot.
Yeah.
I guess, but like
Right.
It also
I'm not gonna say it wasn't. I'm not gonna say like it was seamless, right?
Yeah.
But at least it kind of showed like, oh, you know, like even if it's clunky, Heyman's Heyman's helping him out.
I know Heyman's sleazy, so I knew something was
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't even know.
Yeah. So anyway, Heyman low blows Punk in the dingus. He falls down, and then he gets the chair, and he hands it to his tribal chief.
Yes.
Gets down on his knees. He's like, "Here you go, my tribal chief." You know, smack Punk with the chair. He does it a couple times, and then after he's done that, Paul Heyman goes, "Look at my tribal chief. It's the Shield. It's like the Shield all over again." And I was just like, "You're playing this up a lot."
Yeah.
I was like, this is such an odd thing to do. And then, you know, Reigns goes, he wants to get his revenge because obviously that's the one thing he's always been having on his mind. You saw it last year at WrestleMania. That's the thing that kind of cost him the title. You're seeing it now, this obsession with that betrayal.
Yeah.
So he goes to swing, and immediately after he pushes Paul out of the way, I was like, no. I'm like, no, they're not going to do it. Why would they do it? And then as he's about to go and swing to hit Rollins, Heyman gives Reigns the shot to the dingus. Not only does he give him the shot to the dingus, he then rubs it,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I thought was weird.
Oh, that was very.
Like he's just like rubbing it there.
He's rubbing it in.
Yeah. So then he falls. Heyman picks up the chair, hands it to Rollins.
Yeah.
And then Rollins starts smacking Reigns with a chair, hits the curb stomp. 1, 2, 3. Rollins wins the match.
Yeah.
One of us had a big problem with that. One of us thought he would have a big problem with that, which, spoiler, was me. Because weirdly, this was something that I had pitched to John of what could have happened.
What could have happened? Yeah.
I didn't think it would have.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago.
Now, here's the thing, though. This happened, right? But I think it did what it set out to do, and it's kept me invested on what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
But okay, I get where that sentiment comes from, and the fans who like that. But someone who's just been here recently, more often, and who knew a little bit about the betrayal, and it's been like what, 9 years, 10 years? You said 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, when is it enough? When is like you're saying backstory and feuding and stuff like that, right? The past couple of pay-per-views we've watched, and it's always been the same kind of, oh my God, it's like back and forth, and this person, and it's just, I believed that I know people still like Seth Rollins, and he's great WrestleMania or whatever. I don't think he should have been in the match. I don't. I know it was all like, I just didn't. It's weird. It's weird to try to explain this, but like, I've never liked Seth Rollins, and it's just been like, even the whole like CM Punk and Roman Reigns thing is like, this has just been dragging on forever. But at the same time, as story and as like, hey, being a fan, like CM Punk's first WrestleMania main event, and you make him lose it, like, he finally gets WrestleMania main event, and you're like, no, you lose. There's no, we're gonna let Rollins, at least let Reigns take it. I mean, like, win it. I don't know. It just, out of the three, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but at the same time, out of the three, this is the most intriguing, and I think that's what they care about.
Yeah,
because
I mean, Rollins won it out of like a backstab that was helped by.
No, I get where the story where they're going with it, but it's just like, but this is not like you're not wrapping anything up with Punk winning. Rollins has been talking so much shit about Punk, and he doesn't belong here. And he's been telling Reigns this for fucking, man, I'm cussing a lot. Sorry, for weeks, right? And I've been watching, trying to watch all the promos and everything, and it's just like Rollins has just been complaining and the other word, and it's just like, can we just wrap it up? Having Punk win to shut Rollins the hell up would have been amazing. And it's just like, it's just, he talked all the shit about you, Punk, and you lost. Okay, well, I guess hey, you are shit. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't belong there. You didn't belong in the main event because you lost. That's why it's like, this is so, it is a storytelling aspect, coming from that realm. I was mad. I was pissed off. And it was just like,
so wait,
that made me.
You're more mad that Rollins won, or are you more mad that CM Punk lost?
Both. Because I don't think I say Roman should have won it, but if they were gonna mess all this up and not give it to Punk, I think it should have went to Roman. But I don't know. It's just what it is. Like I said, I can harp on this for like 5 hours, but story wise, you let Seth, say stuff, and it became true.
Yeah.
So Punk fought for it, and he got a main event shot, and finally, and just, hey, he wasn't good enough. Haha, you're right. All the fans who said it, all the, the Rollins said it, Reigns said it. Okay, he wasn't good enough. And it's just like, man, how many more WrestleManias is Punk going to get? You know what I mean? He's already...
There's a caveat on that, is that he didn't lose because he was bad. He lost because he got backdoored by somebody that was in his corner.
Yeah, but that could have happened like on the last pay-per-view or in Raw or SmackDown or whichever one they're on.
Yeah, but you can also...
Not at WrestleMania.
No, but you can look at it like that. Like, it's like... Because I looked at some people's like reaction to this, and... Because there was a part of me that was like, well, what's Heyman's motivation in all this? And you can look at Heyman and how Roman kind of treats Heyman. It's not very good.
Yeah.
And then you look at his relationship with Punk, and he asked for the favor, but it wasn't because he necessarily loved Heyman. He wanted to hurt Reigns, so he's basically using Paul Heyman. So I think that's kind of the justification that they might come up with of like, Reigns kind of doesn't want me, or he doesn't truly appreciate me. Punk was just using me. Like, now I'm going to align with Rollins because Rollins kind of just wants everything to burn.
Who you really have no relationship with, though, really, right?
With Reigns?
With Rollins.
Oh.
Paul Heyman and Rollins. Not really this past, like...
I mean, I don't... Like, here's the thing. I don't necessarily think they need to have these...
No, I know, but they're building on a story. They're creating a story is what I'm saying. Like, so...
Yeah, but you could create that story. Like, the thing about this whole Rollins and Reigns thing... Rollins and Heyman thing is that... And this has kind of been the story of Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman kind of just aligns himself with whoever's the top guy.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, you look at Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, the head honchos of their times, and now he's aligning himself with Rollins. And if there's one thing that I'm excited about with this, I hope this is a character reset for Rollins, because I'm so over it. Everyone's singing his song, and kind of like you were saying, the complaining and the thing.
It's been
I
years
just
of it.
want him to just be this kind of badass that I know the matches he can put on can do. So
And if it's not, then it would have all been for nothing.
kind of, yeah.
I mean, kind of.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they did this because they're retroactively trying to keep the story going.
Yeah.
Like this, at the end of the day, that's kind of all this kind of feels like. It's just a way to retroactively keep these 3 big stars doing big star stuff. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they keep this up all the way to SummerSlam in August. Like, because SummerSlam's also going to be 2 nights now,
Yeah.
which
Oh, are they?
yeah, I don't like that. I really don't like it. Like one, I don't like it because I get SummerSlam's like one of the big, the big 4, and you can have that kind of like legitimacy, but it also kind of makes it seem like 2-night WrestleMania is like, who cares now?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like having 2 nights for WrestleMania, that's a bigger deal than like a 2-night SummerSlam.
Well, you need it because, I mean, it should be the culmination, like I said, of a year's worth of matches and feuds and whatever it is building up to that, or you have just a bunch of big matches. And I don't think you need that at SummerSlam. I don't think you need that at, just have like the they're there to progress the story of the, your weekly stuff. But, I don't know. Like I said, I think I just had an issue with it. Punk's older. It's like, I'm not saying this is his only or last WrestleMania, but it's just like he's getting up there in age. Like,
No, I get your sentiment, right? You want him to win because like you don't
One
know
time.
you don't know if he's gonna get it
and
again.
be done. That's it. Then go on to fucking push Rollins after.
Yeah,
that.
the only argument I can make for that is I don't think Punk cares. I think he just wanted to be there.
True. Okay. Well, yeah.
Now, granted, I wanted him to win.
Yeah.
But I get for the story that they're trying to tell.
So what'd you give the match? You said
5 stars.
5 stars.
I think even with that ending and how you feel about it, I still think the match overall,
I give it 4.
the story,
Yeah.
the emotions I was feeling while I was watching it, the emotions that they were giving while they were doing it,
Yeah.
like anything less than 5 stars, I think is either you're lying to yourself or you actually just truly had true like grievances that like I can't fix for you. Like
Yeah. No, I mean, like, it's I going back to like the wrestling in general. The wrestling was good. I think the story and the way they were portraying, like you said, how they looked about doing the things and the moves and they had great spots in the match. So it was good. I was entertained. Just having the story, having the match go the way it went, put me off. 4. If that had not happened, it'd be a 5. It was good. But
Good.
What do you say,
Good.
4.5, 5?
4.5, 4 3/4. Just because I don't like to give anything a complete perfect. Because there's always something better that they could have done, right?
yeah,
But it's also my thing of like, oh, do it'd be cool too? Something completely unrealistic.
yeah, I do that a lot.
Yeah. Which so.
Oh, it'd be cool if the person came out and did this and this and this and this.
Oh,
Yeah.
it'd be cool. Yeah, it'd be cool if they body slam somebody and they just went right through the ring.
to be fair,
That'd be amazing.
I gave him a pass on one thing because they did the thing that I hate and they went out into the crowd and started
Yeah,
fighting.
that's
I
also
gave
why
him-
I'm not.
I
That's
get-
another thing
I
that was
gave them-
kind of like.
I gave him a pass for that because
Yeah, no.
I was just like, at least this kind of like
I watched this late. Thankfully, we can go back on the Peacock thing. Straight up, as soon as they were getting like pushed out of the ring and they saw them winding up, I'm like, if they go outside into the crowd, I'm just gonna skip the whole crowd part.
You
and
did,
they
right?
And they did. I'm like, okay, I'm just skipping ahead a few seconds, and then as soon as I saw like on the fast forward, they come back and I'm like, okay.
to be fair, you didn't miss much. They must have just hit each other with trash
Yeah.
cans.
Yeah, I figured. That's why I skipped it.
Yeah.
That's also why I'm not giving it a 5 because
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that is the one where they went out there.
But yeah, that was the end of when I.
Yeah, that was the end of night 1. I think overall very mid show.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot more mid than really good stuff.
I think I give the show as a combined, if I'm including all the matches, a 3.
I was gonna say 3.5, but then again, I give the main event to me is 5. So like,
So you raise
so
it,
it
raise it a little
up.
bit. Okay. The first 2 matches kind of just, and other things in between. Wait, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 sounds good.
Yeah, again, very very mid night 1.
Well, start of night 2.
Yeah, so we'll just get so.
Might as well go right into it. I mean,
Yeah. So, like I said, we had a day to think about our night 1 stuff. You're kind of getting our immediate,
yeah,
I say
immediate reaction.
like
yeah.
an hour ish immediate.
Hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hour. Yeah.
And they start off with the women's world title triple threat match. And I said at the beginning of the night, before the match even started, I was like, guys, it's only gonna get it's not gonna be better than this.
It's only downhill.
It's only downhill from here. And one of us doesn't agree with that, and I get why he doesn't agree with that. I just personally, I thought this is where I don't even know how to describe it. As I just thought this is where I don't even know what I want to say about it.
Well,
It's
okay,
like-
we're not that far off from each other because they came out, had a triple threat match. We talk about the match first, and then I'll give my opinion after, just to like actually go ahead because I want to piggyback off what you say, but I don't want to skip to the next match.
Yeah, well, first off, I want to say this to the three women that were in there. Phenomenal ring gear.
What's that?
Ring gear. They're-
Ring
they're-
gear.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
Bianca
yeah.
Belair with her rose,
were awesome, yeah.
her rose like little coat or
robe.
robe, thank you.
yeah,
that thing was awesome.
yeah.
Like
That looked good.
Io with her like neon things.
I think she
yeah.
almost tripped once when she was in the ring.
Yeah.
It's great.
But yeah,
Amazing.
this match, like, in fact, I didn't write a whole lot of notes because I was just too invested in watching what was going
You
on.
kept forgetting.
Yeah, I was just like, but like I was like, the match is good. Like all
Yeah.
the like, and there's one thing that Vic told me like after the match was over. He's like, a lot of it was just really seamless.
Yeah.
It didn't really feel like they, like, and going back, you kind of compare it to the Jade and Naomi match from the bit before.
Sure.
You can tell when they were trying to get to a spot
Yeah.
and like they were just timing it wrong. A lot of this match was just like.
It was
It was
back.
like, it was back
back,
and forth.
back and
Let's-
forth, back
like
and forth,
you
yeah.
couldn't tell that there was like any like hesitation.
But sometimes that's also because I mentioned this during when we were watching. Sometimes, for me, only, my opinion, it's because it's a triple threat or four-way or more. Because it's like, okay, well, I have time to, do, as many moves or a little spot with these two people. I keep saying characters, but they're characters.
I mean,
These two characters, and then one of them gets really hurt, thrown out of the ring, do whatever. You have the other one jumping in to save the other one, or just to keep the action going. So, like you said, seamless, right?
it's very seamless.
That's what I usually find with these types of matches that have more than two people. I don't know why. 2-person matches, unless they're really great wrestlers, are usually so boring for me. That's why I give lower values on those. But great moves all around. They kept going at each other. It was not like and you could see the kind of like the tension that's been building up for the past couple of weeks. The way they would do the moves, the way they would execute them, and get thrown down. And like you said I think you brought it up during the match. You're like, wow, Io really sells this stuff.
Oh yeah, she ragdolls
Yeah,
a
it is
lot
so
in this
good.
match, and like
What was it? It was like,
There was one time she got
She would
slammed
sell it and then she would
to the
fall back.
ground, right? When you
Yeah.
were like, and you heard smack, like, oh my!
I was like,
goodness.
oh my god.
yeah, Io is
She took some hits.
she's probably the best part of the match. I think her
Yeah,
her
it was-
selling
yeah.
and there were bits and pieces of the match. I was like, oh, maybe they actually will take the title off her.
yeah,
Like, and she makes you believe that they're going to do that. But spoiler, she wins. She retains with a pretty awesome
great
finish.
finishing move,
Great finish.
great finishing. That was
Uh,
awesome.
Reminded me of Armageddon 2008 with Triple H, Edge, and Jeff Hardy with the finish. So basically, the finish, it goes. Is it Bianca or Rhea hits their move?
It was Bianca.
I think Bianca hits the KOD
Yeah.
on Rhea onto the outside or into the ring.
Into the ring.
And while that was happening, Rhea was trying to hit a riptide, I believe, off the top rope.
Yes.
And so Bianca hits the KOD, goes for the pin, and then Io hits the moonsault onto Bianca,
Yeah.
pins, I believe, Rhea
Pins Rhea. Yes.
Yeah, right.
for the 1, 2,
Because
3.
when she hits her, Bianca like kind of
kind of.
Yeah.
flows off.
Yeah.
And,
So then she gets the pin, wins. I love that finish. I
Yeah.
think finishes like that are super cool.
well, because one, you didn't really expect it. Cameras directly on them, and it's like, oh wait, she's
And
flying
then
through
comes
the
out
air.
of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would happen a few times tonight. There was one in the
It
fatal
happened
4-way. that
One
was
more
really,
time. One more time.
One more time, but it was really good.
It was good.
Like it was really funny. But yeah, I loved this match. Again, for me, match of night 2. I don't think it got any better than this. Granted, I think the fatal 4-way was also very good,
Fatal 4 was
Um,
pretty good.
but yeah, I think to me this was match of the night. I give it 5 stars.
I gave it a 4.
4.5.
I gave it a 4.
A good even. A good even.
So the thing about night 2 is it starts off really good.
Granted, I did say the women's match, I thought it started a little slow. for the tension that had been building up. First couple of minutes were kind of like, I was like, oh man, is this going to be another, one of the matches we've seen before? And it ended up great. Now, going into the second match, yeah.
So second match of the night was Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a Sin City street fight.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I did say about this match is I kind of wanted more.
I wanted more street.
Yeah, I wanted more ruthless, like kind of like this.
It was
ruthless
just the
aggression.
fight. There was no like.
Granted, it's a good fight. Like it's
No,
not
it was
like it's
good.
not terrible by any means. But I wanted kind of more. Like, granted, they went through the tables.
Granted, seeing two
There
tall.
was three
tables. Guys 6 foot, right? They're both 6'5",
both 6'5", yeah.
and flying around the ring and doing these moves onto these tables and stuff. It was a good match.
If that was coming towards me, I'd be scared.
Yeah, like Drew got donged at the beginning of the match
Oh,
with the
yeah.
steel steps, and I literally wrote that down because it looked like it was just all like face. That was pretty much all it was.
Was it
Yeah, because he threw the stair, right?
Yeah.
Threw it at-
yeah. Who was it that got their back open?
Drew.
Drew.
Because a couple of chair shots.
Yeah.
But he also, right before the chair shots, he DDT'd, or I don't know what move it's called that he calls it, but right onto the stairs.
Oh yeah, the Future Shock DDT.
He took that
No,
stair
it was
slam
afterwards.
so hard.
Wasn't it afterwards?
Was it afterwards?
Because he noticed it. He told us, "Hey, I don't know if you noticed."
No, the chair shots were after the thing was in the ring. Oh no, yeah, no,
No,
it might have been.
it was before.
Yeah,
No, because
we just watched it. Sorry.
because he said something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh yeah,
On
he
the
is cut
shoulder,
open.
that's right, on the
On
shoulder,
the shoulder,
yeah, yeah.
and then he immediately does that. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
his back is getting.
And it was hard. He took a
was
hard hit on that too. I was like, and when they showed the replay, I was like, wow, Damian didn't take any damage from that. He just, and then yeah.
But the best part of the match is Drew goes and gets his phone from one of his family members
Oh,
or a
man,
friend
that
or
was
something.
so
Yeah.
good.
Takes a photo and then posts it on Twitter.
Immediately.
And then
And
you
then
look it up.
Yeah, and then because I saw that he did that, I was like, he's posted that on Twitter 100%. And so I go to Twitter, and it's like the first thing that pops up on my Twitter.
Like-
and I go and I show the guys, and they just start laughing.
Yeah, it was
Great.
good. It was
Great,
good.
amazing.
I hope that's his like WrestleMania thing every single year now,
Oh,
because
that
he
would-
did it last year where he did a tweet.
that's fun.
That's
Fun. See, this is the kind of stuff I want to see.
Yeah.
It's like the impressive, but also kind of like the funny, goofy stuff right next to it. It's like,
Yeah, nothing wrong with it being, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple like fun spots. Drew flies. I wrote Drew flies over the ropes. I don't remember what that was. I think it was like to the outside.
He
or
did a
something.
flip
He
over.
did a flip,
yeah.
Yeah, outside. And I was like kind of surprised. Like, wow, I didn't know he
Yeah, and then
cleared.
Damian Priest hits the Razor's Edge
onto
hey,
the
yo.
table. Yeah. Oh my God, the amount of times I heard was it
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee say, "Hey yo," every time someone went up on the shoulders.
Oh, there's fireworks outside.
Oh.
Someone's celebrating John Cena's win. Spoiler:
Yeah.
John Cena wins. But yeah, before we get in, go on with the rest of the match. Yeah, shout out to Pat McAfee. Some of the best commentary of the weekend.
Amazing.
Like
Amazing.
I don't get why people don't like Pat McAfee. I think he's very very good. Jesus, they are letting those fireworks go.
If you
They
didn't
really-
notice,
they-
they're doing it, and this was a big one.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, they really like that John Cena won. Anyway, yeah, so that happens. Then the Future Shock DDT.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, Future Shock DDT onto the steps. We'll get into it. We have things to say about
That's
that.
so funny.
So then one of the things that he actually had a problem with was Damian Priest ends up hitting Old School or tries to hit Old School.
Oh my God,
On-
that was irritating. That was the
onto,
only part of the match
onto
I did
Drew.
not like.
But before he
Oh,
could
there
do
was a
that,
couple
he
things.
Drew like pushes him off and onto the tables.
2
'Cause-
tables.
Yeah, because he is the table.
He is a turbo.
If you're gonna do if you're gonna do old school, and if you're gonna do the move, at least don't look too wobbly. Practice it, please. Just grab it, make it look natural, and
Also, the thing you also said was that he went too far in the middle because that's where he set the tables.
true. But I mean, even the first step off at the ropes, he
It
was
was
like,
shaky.
He was very shaky.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Hey man,
Nitpicking,
not
right?
everybody's
Nitpicking, yeah,
Undertaker. Not
Anyway,
everybody's Undertaker.
he goes through the tables. Drew puts him back in. Damian had set up a chair in one of the turnbuckles earlier. He then sets up Damian onto where the chair is, hits a Claymore, 1, 2, 3. Drew gets the win.
We were there for a little bit thinking, did he kick the head or the chair?
Yeah. Luckily, they showed replays. And
Yeah.
I think they did it the safest way that they could have.
It was good.
But it looked cool.
It was good.
You know.
It was cool.
Very solid match. I wish there was more stuff that they could have done. Maybe a little bit more weapons. Real like street stuff. Like I
If
think
I had seen a chain, then I'd be like, that's dangerous, and I love it.
I give it a 3.5.
I gave it 4.
Okay.
Just because especially like in hindsight, looking back at after this next match, the matches that preceded it are kind of just like, Like I think 4 was.
But
fair.
at the time, did you give it a 4?
Yeah,
Or
I
did
still
you
gave it
change
4 at the
okay.
time. Like I think it's a very solid 4-star match. I don't think
It was.
like as far as street fights are concerned, it could have been way better, but it wasn't terrible. I think it was perfectly
That's
fine
why
for what it was.
I'm giving 3.5 because there was no.
was
Street
just
Fight needed to
wrestling.
be a little
It was
more.
just
Yeah,
wrestling.
yeah.
It was just
Bring
wrestling.
out some trash cans. Bring out a baseball bat. Bring out something. I don't know. Like
average this out because
Yeah.
usually I'm in between both of you. 3 3.75.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, we get on to the next match, which is the Fatal 4-Way
Fatal
Intercontinental Championship match with Penta versus Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio versus Braun Breaker. Before we start anything, Braun Breaker is awesome.
Yeah.
He is honestly one of the greatest people that they have on the roster. And spoiler alert,
He's slowly
mentioned
becoming
something
my
about-
favorite wrestler of this generation. Like this time I'm watching. Like I don't know. It's just
You mentioned something with his outfit. I was like,
yeah. So
Cool.
so the first thing I wrote is for notes is everyone's gear in this match really freaking awesome.
really awesome.
they all look
Yeah.
good.
Like
They
Finn
all
Balor had the black and yellow with he had the white Jordans, I think,
Yeah.
with the yellow laces. He had the really
jacket.
sick bomber jacket. Penta with his green and gold. Like John really loved Penta's outfit.
Yeah, Penta's outfit
Like it was really good.
freaking
I thought
awesome.
Dominic's was very simple but also pretty elegant. And then Braun Breaker comes out with his
And a Steiner outfit.
yeah, with his Steiner outfit. Shout
Oh,
out to
man, that
the Steiner brothers.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool.
that was really, really good. I liked it.
Also, shout out to Braun Breaker for doing Steiner math the day before.
Yes.
That was really funny.
Getting it all right.
Yeah.
That was
Because
amazing.
that was probably hard to do. I cannot imagine having to do that in front of all those people. Like,
Did
and
you,
not-
you-
and not
oh, you
messing
didn't
up.
see that, right? Did you see it? Okay, we'll
All right,
have to show you.
We'll show you
We'll
afterwards.
show you
It's
afterwards.
very funny. Because Vic has seen the original Steiner math promo, and he basically redoes it, but like with the match he's in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically like a 1-to-1 recreation, but like
Yeah.
talking about the match that he's
I
in.
have to see it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So
All right.
anyway, they start the match, and it pretty much starts out like most multi-man matches. They go on to the outside, and I forget who is. I think it's either Finn or it's Dom. I don't think it might have been Penta. I don't remember. But the way that they shoot, it like follows the person, and then out of nowhere, Braun Breaker just like springs into the frame.
Oh, that was.
I don't know who
He hits Penta.
He hits
Is it
Penta.
Penta?
He hits
Okay.
Penta.
He
yeah,
jumps
yeah.
over
He-
Finn and Dom,
Yeah.
and it's more like a side shoulder block.
Yeah, but still, it's out
He's
of nowhere.
flying through the air. Yeah,
Like Braun Breaker's not a light dude, and he's coming at full force.
Yeah.
Like that's at least like
That's-
with full force, that's like 300.
Getting hit with the
pounds.
Braun missile.
yeah.
Yeah, Braun Breaker, he might have been the best person in the match, like in terms of like just sheer athleticism and just intensity that he brought.
Every time he came out and they did a zoom in on him, I'm like, he looks like he's about to burst a blood vessel.
Oh yeah. When
Somebody needs to check on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, so I didn't write a whole lot of like stuff that happened in the match, but I did write one bit of commentary because we all thought it was funny. Dirty Dom needs some dude wipes after that spear.
Oh yes. Was that
yeah.
Pat McAfee again?
That was Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
So
Actually, was it Pat? No, I think that might have been Wade Barrett. Now that I'm thinking about
It
it.
was one of them. If some of you
no,
don't know,
it was Wade Barrett because then I think Pat McAfee said the same thing about Finn.
Oh okay.
If anybody doesn't know, a lot of these matches are sponsored by a bunch of companies out there, and the one sponsored that they said a lot of was Dude Wipes, and we just laughed about it.
Yeah, we
a
lost.
lot.
It was funny.
Yeah, shout
Like,
out to
really?
Dude
Dude
Wipes
Wipes?
though. If
Dude
you want to
Wipes.
sponsor us, you can. hey, I'll take any sponsorship, dude. It's fine. So yeah, eventually at some point Carlito comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we talked
That was
about
about a little bit past halfway of the
Yeah.
match.
And Carlito does the Carlito stuff. He comes in, he like stops pins, makes sure
stops messing with him.
Finn or Dom gets the pins and stuff.
Yeah.
That was fun. Anyway, at some point, he ends up on one of the announce tables. And
He was gonna drag Penta
Penta, yeah.
up
Penta.
onto the
Poor
announce-
Penta.
Yeah.
Poor
yeah,
Penta.
Yeah, exactly. But as he does that, Braun sees him on the table. He then runs off of the table, kind of.
But so 2 announcers tables. Carlitos and Penta are on one table, and then Braun
goes-
gets on the other table that's like not even connected.
Jumps off of the table through Carlito, and then the table breaks. And then I believe this is also Pat McAfee. He goes, "I think Carlito died, or I think Carlito's dead."
Yeah. He said, "I think Carlito's dead."
Carlito just died.
Yeah, Carlito just died. And the way he did it, like we were talking about this in the match, I wish it would have been a more straight spear, but at the same time, he
Yeah,
kind of hit him while Carlito
He-
face down.
We talked about this. He hit him the safest way
Yeah.
possible.
So
Yes.
Because if not, they would have went completely off.
would have gone into
into
the
the
crowd.
crowd.
Into
Yeah,
the
yeah,
crowd.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because he jumps like super early, and I was like, well, he probably should just got a running start. Vic was like, well, if he got a running start, he probably would have run through
Yeah.
people. Because another thing that happened earlier tonight is somebody got hit with something.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that in a little
Talk
bit.
about that.
Civilian.
We're not there yet. That didn't happen.
It was
yet.
right before the big one.
So anyway, they go back into the ring at some point, and Finn Balor ends up hitting a coup de grace.
They're hitting great moves.
Yeah.
Everything's going
Yeah.
great.
Oh my god.
I don't remember exactly how they get to the finish, but anyway, Dirty Dom gets the pin off of a move that Finn does, and it was basically the same as the opener, and Dirty Dom gets the win. He's new Intercontinental Champion.
Finn does the coup de grace onto Braun,
Yeah.
and then when he does that, he goes to pin, and Dom does the frog splash.
Oh yes, yeah, there you go. That's why.
Onto
Okay.
them while he's pinning him.
And
See,
then-
I thought it was gonna. I was like, man, okay, look, they focused on them, and I was like, you just had two people pin and then like jump off, and like Ruben said, it was like kind of like the first one.
Yeah.
I was expecting Penta to fly out of the air, and like that would have made it the match of the night for me. I mean, almost pretty much was,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's,
Yeah. So anyway, Dirty Dominic Mysterio is now your new Intercontinental Champion, and people were cheering. Normally he gets
Yeah.
booed. He got
Man,
cheered.
They were cheering.
He got
a
cheered.
lot.
He got cheered.
Well, we talked about this. Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Ruben has a kind of like
Yeah, because there was a lot of complaining, and then we actually thought about it, and Ruben came up
Yeah.
with a good.
So
line.
there's one of two things that's either going to happen. They're either going to tell the story of Dom now being the title, being like maybe he should be the head of the Judgment Day, and then he
and
starts
that's
feuding
fine.
over
Yeah,
Finn.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
like,
they can do that,
and then like
yeah.
Finn's now the babyface in this situation, or because people are now cheering Dom, will they start retroactively making him babyface, and then they'll make Finn the bad guy? There's two ways that they can go about it. I do think that the way that they're going to go is they're feuding with each other.
Yeah.
But I think the more important thing, and it's the thing we were talking about,
Yeah.
is now that Braun doesn't have the Intercontinental Championship, I think he should move on to bigger and better things.
And I think
And
that
I think
should
at
be,
some point he needs to fight Jay,
yeah,
and he needs to take the title
win
off
the
Jay.
bet. Yep.
yeah.
100%.
And these next couple of, I think there needs to be some good build up. Not right away, like we were talking about that. It shouldn't be like the next pay per view or on Raw.
No,
or
definitely.
SmackDown.
No, I
should be a
think
build-up. There
I
should be a
think
build-up.
I think if you're gonna do it, you do it
SummerSlam?
at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I think you build up Braun. You give him some more substantial opponents.
That would be a great match at SummerSlam. Because
Yeah.
have Braun, yeah.
Yeah, I think Braun has proven himself.
Let him work through, let him work through the top, the higher contenders, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's,
Yeah, because you got to build him up.
yeah,
You know, you got to do that. Because I think I think the worst thing they could do is just immediately put him there.
yeah.
Like that.
Just
That's
do
his
it,
first. That's Jay's first
Yeah,
opponent.
like make it as a throwaway.
Yeah,
like, it
no,
just happens.
no. You built to it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
again, I think Braun has proven that you can put him in matches that are high caliber, high profile, and he can get it done, and he can be successful.
Yeah.
I think Braun is now ready to have those matches, to have
Yeah.
that kind of pressure on him.
Yeah.
You know, he proved it in NXT.
I would love to see him win the match, win the belt, and I mean, you don't have to give him a long time, but give him a couple of pay-per-views. You know, let him defend it against some really top talent, and just to show, because like I said, I don't know, he's becoming my favorite wrestler. So I mean, of this generation.
Yeah, no, he's going to be a multi-time world champion. And I remember, I think it was the Royal Rumble. He was just in it, and I was watching with my friend and my cousin and our mutual friend, and he's like, "I don't get Braun Breaker." And I was like, "I don't know why you don't get Braun Breaker. Like, I don't really think there's anything to get. He's just really good. He's really talented. You know, like, no offense, I think he's a lot more talented than his dad. Definitely more talented than his uncle. Like, I think.
So is he only? I was looking up his. My computer died. Right when I was looking up his age, I think it said he was born in '97.
Yeah, he's young.
So
He's only slightly older than us.
He's 2 years older than me.
Yes,
Yeah, Braun Breaker, he's young, dude.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so he has a good 20
Oh,
years. Like, yeah, that's
oh
what
my
I'm saying.
God.
Oh no, he's future. He's going to be a future multi-time world champion.
Yeah,
He's 27 years old.
27.
He's the same age as my brother. Yeah, he's and that's what I'm saying. Like, again, I go back again to the Charlotte Flair Tiffany Stratton match. Start building up these guys, because
Yeah.
for a long time we were banking on the same people.
Yeah.
Start what
What I was talking about before, right? The three guys in the main event. It's like you've been building on people and you've been using people for the same time, but you're not bringing in new talent to kind of not just take their place, but go alongside of them and keep the industry going. You know,
Yeah.
that's now that I'm getting back into it, especially, it's like I want to see more talent. I want to see,
Yeah, it's the same way I think about actors. It's like I don't want to see the same.
And I don't
freaking
mind it.
act-
I don't
Sure,
mind it.
They're great, right?
Because there's
But-
certain roles
But
for
there are
them. But
sometimes I want to be like, I want to see
Something new.
people. Yeah, something new. You know.
who's as good as the other?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. So anyway, this match was awesome. I didn't like that the finish was similar to the opener, which is why I gave it a lower score. Not a ton, like a lot lower. I gave it 4 3/4, with potential to just be 5. Honestly, it's probably a 5-star match, like for all things considered. But I'm gonna give it lower than the women's because again, I didn't like that they did basically the same finish.
Yeah.
Um,
For me, for the possibility of Braun being able to go on, I
Yeah.
give it a 5. Dom got the cheer, and it was just like, wow, this it may create something now with Braun and Finn. Finn and Dom, but now it's like, man, because I really, really, really like Penta too. So it's just like,
yeah,
man,
it's like
I'm hoping like what?
Yeah, now
what's-
you got to find a spot for Penta.
yeah, what's next for Penta? I hope they don't neglect his story.
Yeah.
Push him to do something.
Yeah, because I kind of felt in this match he was kind of an afterthought.
Yeah.
Kind of,
It was more like a filler
which
character to
which
come
is
in.
why I'm not gonna give it a 5.
Yeah, but they've also been building him super well.
Yeah,
Like that, where they actually care.
They're taking time with him, and I like it.
Yeah.
I don't mind
Yeah.
that. I'm glad they haven't pushed him into any like bigger matches yet.
Yeah.
So it was good. They gave him a
Yeah.
shot and chance. And
Yeah,
I think
well,
the match.
again, it's
I
just
give it
one
a 5.
Again, it's one of those things we have to wait and see. Unfortunately, it goes downhill from here.
Yeah. Well, he said like it peaked in the first. I think it peaked at this one, and the rest of the show, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So
Pretty much, yeah.
So
Pretty much.
again, unfortunately, due to circumstances outside of Randy Orton's control, unfortunately, Kevin Owens is injured.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's going to be a very substantial injury.
Oh yeah, it is this match.
Yep.
I love this match.
He is going to be out, I believe, maybe even to 2026. Apparently, it's a really serious injury. He doesn't know if he's going to come back to wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, he's also kind of older, right? So
Yeah, he's old.
Who?
Kevin Owens.
Oh yeah, he's low. Not that
So before I even get to the part that I'm going to talk about, I just want to say, Kevin Owens, wish you the best. Get well soon. But now we're going to get into the actual match.
Yeah, because you
The
never know how
whole-
you
the
never
whole-
know how neck surgery goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Randy Orton.
Randy Orton doesn't have an opponent.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, well, we got to, Randy Orton basically have an open challenge. Hey, whoever wants to come out, come out.
And at first I was thinking like, man, Randy Orton puts on great matches. This is gonna be amazing. And I was like, how could it get like? I was just, man, don't get someone like bottom tier. Don't get someone that's just gonna be like,
he's gonna be flopping around
Yeah.
like a fish. Yeah.
But who should they get? But say his name, and he appears. Joe Hendry shows up, and we lose our minds.
I
it was
like, oh
it
my
was
God.
great. It was pretty damn awesome. It was
You got spoiled.
Yeah, I accidentally got spoiled because we
30 seconds.
Yeah, we
before
were
he
we
comes
were,
out.
we were slightly behind because we started a little bit
Yeah.
later. No, we started on time, but you had left, and we had decided to pause, and we had
2
forgot.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and
For
we
like
and we
9
had forgot to fast forward.
Yeah.
So we were slightly behind, and I didn't get spoiled on the initial message. I got spoiled on the second message
On the
that
follow-up.
my cousin had sent.
You just saw on the top.
Yeah, because
Oh,
all it said was "I believe," and I was like,
Oh.
"Well, crap."
damn.
So, but I was just like, "Well, I know it's still going to be exciting."
He held. He didn't say anything.
I didn't tell them.
He looked like he wanted to though.
I wanted to so bad.
Yeah. And then the music comes.
And he opened it and he turns and it was just like, oh my
Like,
god,
oh my God.
this is
Yeah.
this is hilarious. This is so good.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then the bell rings.
It right there, I would have been like, this is gonna be a 5-star match. This is gonna be freaking awesome.
Well, in order for it to be a 5-star match, it has to go over 3 minutes, which it did.
It has to be
It's
a
3
match.
minutes and 10 seconds.
And what this is really crappy. I know he has. I know you got.
I'm
some
about
thoughts
to.
on
Yeah,
this.
you give your piece because I'm
Okay,
gonna pop off
so
in a little bit.
I'm just getting back in. Like I keep saying that. Should stop saying it. I'm back into wrestling. Shut up about it. Okay, cool. Now, with as much as I'm trying to watch different organizations and promotions, I've watched a couple of Hendry's matches. He's a great wrestler. I understand why he's the champion in TNA, and they've had him on WWE events. Now that I've seen, I think twice, right? 2 times. Royal Rumble.
I think it's just been the Royal
Yeah.
Rumble.
So he came in the Royal Rumble.
Granted, he's been on NXT a couple times.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying. So came in Royal Rumble, and it was just like, it was so like, you have the champion of another promotion, and you just gone like nothing.
Yeah, almost like a joke.
And so this one, when he came out, I was like, man, I want to see, man, we're going to see like a good match. You know, I like he's a decent wrestler. Randy Orton's a great wrestler. I want to see where this is going to go. And I had to step out. So I didn't see the 3-minute 10 match.
You're right.
I had to step out, and I'm outside, and I just hear, "Oh my God!" Oh, like a couple little things, and then it was dead silent, and I was like, "That," like I was looking at my phone, like, "What happened?" Like, there's nothing. Are we on a new match already? I came in, and they're on a totally different match, and it was just like, so.
Yeah.
So I'm about to pop off. This match is 3 minutes and 10 seconds. It's 3 minutes and 10 seconds. You get the main guy of a company that you are now working with, and you make him lose in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. This pay-per-view, night 2, was over before 10. It stopped at like 9:40. You gave John Cena and Cody Rhodes like 20-something minutes. You're telling me you could not find an additional like 5 minutes for Joe Hendry and Randy Orton?
It also started like a couple minutes. They had a couple of minutes to spare.
It baffles me that you, the second time that you've brought in Joe Hendry, the main champion of a company that you're working with, and you kind of just do nothing with him. The crowd wanted to do something. They were cheering. They were singing his song. They know who he is. And you treat him like this piece of garbage. And granted, Joe Hendry's probably just happy to be there. Yeah. He's probably just happy to be in front of 60,000 people wrestling. He probably never thought he was going to be able to do that. But I look at this, and I think the eventual hope for WWE is he'll leave TNA and then go to WWE. But I see them treat him this way. And it kind of just feels like they just hope he's happy that he's in the spot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're giving him these spots just for like 3 minutes. Give him something substantial.
You're using him just for his popularity.
Exactly. And it's frustrating. Because like I've seen this dude wrestle live. Now, TNA came to San Antonio. I saw this dude live. He's very entertaining. He's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
So when they bring him in, again, it was a genuine surprise. I did not think I thought it was gonna be Nick Aldis. I thought that was the way that they were going.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought that was, granted, I think if Nick Aldis was in the spot, they would have gone over 3 minutes. But I'm just like, this is the top champion of a guy that you're working, who is part of a company that you're working with now. Granted, it's NXT, but like still, you're working with him, and you're treating him like garbage. I'm wondering what TNA's thinking.
Well, that's one of my biggest gripes.
Like
you have this guy, and it's like
is TNA also in the position where they're like, oh, we're just happy to be there, we're getting exposure. It's like, yeah, but they're making you look like lesser than them.
Yeah, they're saying in this match tonight that all of their talent in their entire roster is not as good as Randy Orton.
Yeah, they're basically saying your top guy can't beat
anybody.
Yeah, our basically our veteran.
Like, well, that's what I thought. I had that same sentiment when he got thrown out in Royal Rumble. And he even got thrown out by like, I don't even remember who threw him out, but it was just like,
God, I think it was like Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
It was somebody who was kind of like on the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
I think
you just let him be treated like this. I feel the same way. I mean, but
yeah, no, I was very upset. Vic was in here when John wasn't, and I just went off.
Yeah.
I was like, I was cursing up a storm. I was like, this is so stupid. You have this guy just lose in 3 minutes.
This is great.
No, I know this is great.
I
for the
love
content,
this.
but it's just like, it's so frustrating. Like, again, it's like, it's the top guy of his company. He comes in just to lose. And again, like you clearly had time. You could have found the time, like, to make this match somewhat more substantial. Like, and you just didn't. Either because you didn't want to, or you felt like maybe you just didn't have the time.
Did they even let Hendry do his finishing move?
No.
I don't make it 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Damn,
I think he just hit like a couple moves, does his little spin. Randy Orton does the RKO, and then he just loses.
Yeah.
Like, it was so like.
Let me ask you: Would you have had an issue if the match was 10 to 15 minutes?
No.
And he still lost. Like,
no. Here's the thing: regardless of who was in this match, they were losing. I don't.
Oh,
if it
for
was Nick
Randy, yeah,
Aldis,
yeah, yeah.
if it was anybody else on the roster, they weren't winning, because the story that they were going to tell with Kevin Owens was he was probably going to lose
to Randy Orton.
To Randy Orton.
Yeah, yeah.
But I look at this and I'm just like, yeah, you couldn't have given them time.
Yeah.
Like again, you don't need to go 10 minutes, but like, go give them like an extra 5, give them 8 minutes.
Well, with y'all telling me how it ended, right? Like, Randy did the turn and then he did his pose. That if it was a longer match, that would have been hilarious. It would have been a great match.
That would have been.
Well, because not only that, but like after the match ends, he like picks up Joe Hendry and is like, "Hey, look at you! You came out here. You had the balls to come out and face me. That's that takes guts and like determination, and I applaud you for that." And then he hits him with a second RKO, and I'm just like, "Why?
Yeah,
that's just salt in the wound.
Disrespectful. I mean, it really is to like."
And here's the thing. Yeah. After that, he does the spin and then the pose, and I'm like, yeah, that's funny, but it's also again just like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And there might be people out there saying like I'm overreacting. It's like I don't feel like I am.
Yeah. No.
Like again, maybe Joe Hendry's just happy to be there.
It would have been it's funny you say that because I don't think it would have been that big of an issue if this was the first time. Yeah. But it sucks because this is the second time this has happened, where they've kind of brought him in. They do his usual, like, I'm leaving Joe Hendry, all that stuff. And then he immediately gets dunked on. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah. Happened in Royal Rumble. It's like, okay, whatever. It's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and in popularity speak, he's as popular as some of the top talent in WWE as far as with the fans, right? Everybody knows his song. Everybody gets this insane reaction when he comes out. He does a lot of crap with I've been watching like I said, I've been trying to watch TikToks and stuff like that. Dude, he does a lot of stuff on the outside of wrestling too.
The dude is in PUBG.
Yeah.
He is a big deal. Granted, TNA, much smaller company than WWE, and that's probably why they treat him like garbage because they probably just can. And like, what are they gonna do? But he's,
you work with them.
Yeah, he is so much bigger than I think WWE wants to believe. Because we all believe in Joe Hendry. It's just like. I don't want to keep harping on this because I could talk about this for another hour of just TNA as a company.
Well, no, that makes it a big. I forgot that he was in PUBG, but it's just your talent. I mean, who's in Fortnite now? Undertaker and
Cody Rhodes.
2 people, and and he's in PUBG, a game that's just as big, if not used to be bigger than Fortnite. And it's just that's not the only reason he's popular. I'm just saying that's just. He does all this stuff.
They're at that level.
And you're treat him as an afterthought.
Yeah. So I rated this.
I'll give this a 2.
So
here's the thing. I rated this on 3 different scales.
Yeah.
I had the.
By the way, that's thanks to me because giving my perspective, when this match happened, I was laughing the whole time because of his reaction.
Yeah.
It was great.
So I rated this on three different criterias. This is the only match I rated on 3 different criterias. I thought as a moment, 5 stars.
Yeah.
As Joe Hendry just showing up, being the one to do it, nobody thought that was going to happen. 5 stars. The actual match, 2 stars. It was too short, and anything above that would just be a lie. This is a 2-star match. It was too short, and it just wasn't worth it.
It wasn't even. It was 3 minutes.
The entirety of the thing as a whole, I said jokingly was minus 5 stars. And I don't know if I'm joking at that point. I didn't like it. I thought it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
I thought it was a waste of Joe Hendry and his character. I don't think it made Randy Orton look any better. It didn't make Joe Hendry look good at all.
No.
You probably just could not have had this match. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you're not going to not have the match because this was supposed to be Randy Orton.
But you got to think about it. If they had anybody from WWE, would they have made it a 3-minute match? When's the last time you've seen a 3-minute match in a WrestleMania? Never?
No, there's been a few. There's been a few short matches.
In WrestleMania?
Yeah.
That short, 3 minutes?
There's been matches that are shorter than that.
Oh, okay. It's been a while. Been a while since I've been out of it. Been a while. But, I just didn't expect this one to be 3 minutes.
There was The Rock versus Eric Rowan. That was 6 seconds.
Okay, who's Eric Rowan?
There was Rey Mysterio versus JBL at WrestleMania 25. That was a minute.
I remember that one. Never mind. Okay.
There's a few.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
It's not the
but
worst.
you know what I mean.
It's not the worst.
But
come on.
This was the worst match of the weekend
Oh, yeah.
by and it's not even close.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't see this as a match. I see this as like a
moment?
a mid card, like haha. You know how like they do like funny promos in the middle.
Yeah.
This just felt like that. It's like
All right, I
all right,
can see that.
cool. It's not a match.
Yeah, again, I don't want to harp on it too long because again, I could just talk
Yeah.
about it forever. So we'll move on to the next thing. And again, it just kind of kept going downhill. Like it was like this next match, and it sucks too because I really thought this match could have been really good. It's AJ Styles versus Logan Paul,
Yeah.
and Logan Paul, regardless of how we feel about him, we know he's a good wrestler when you give him time to train and like put together the match. AJ Styles, my favorite wrestler of all time. Like I know he can put on good matches,
Yeah.
but for some reason it just didn't click for me.
No, because I said this during the match. It looked like it was just a match to sell Logan Paul. AJ Styles didn't really do too much. He hit a couple of things, but for the most part, it was. I said this when I saw it. I was like, wow. I just watched because I was outside. I came inside and I'm like, wow. For the past 2.5 minutes, it's just been Logan just wailing on him, doing a bunch of different moves, and going off of what you said. Don't like Logan Paul, but he's a decent wrestler.
Yeah.
And it's just him versus AJ Styles. I thought this should have been a better match than what it was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I was just like, this isn't doing anything that's like actively damaging both of these characters, but it's not entertaining, or it's not as entertaining as it could have been.
I give it 2.5.
It's
Mid.
It's
very
a
mid.
filler match.
It
It's
was.
a filler match. That's what it is.
They tried to build up a little bit of backstory the past couple of weeks, but
Yeah, like at the very end, like towards the end, they do stuff with like Karrion Kross and like one of Logan Paul's buddies tries to give him the brass knucks. Karrion Kross takes it and then offers the brass knucks to AJ, and AJ throws them and then punches Karrion Kross in the face. That basically leads to the end of the match where Logan pins him. And it's just like this is just me.
I think
I know people who like Karrion Kross. I like the idea of Karrion Kross. But for every company that he's ever been in, they try to make him the guy, and it never works. Like, no offense, Karrion Kross seems like a cool guy. Seems like a very fun, interesting dude. I think he's been doing a lot more good stuff now than like in the past. I don't know. It's just AJ's getting up in age, and I would rather him do something more substantial with his time.
yeah.
Because I think he says he's gone on the record saying he wants to retire at 50.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like he only has a couple more manias, and we kind of wasted it on this.
Yeah.
I don't know who you should have gotten him to face. Maybe you have him face Karrion Kross.
But I don't know, like, also, like, we're sitting here talking about Styles, but I mean, like, so Logan Paul, is there any future for, not future, but like, you mentioned he's a part-time wrestler, right? Like, he's not here in all the Raws or SmackDowns or whatever. What does he wrestle on if he does? None
Sometimes he does wrestle on Raw.
Raw. Okay.
But it's mostly like at pay-per-views.
So it's just like where is it if he's not going to be a future star and he's not going to progress it, if he's like more like, you know, this is just something fun to do,
like a hobby.
it's like, why there's so many other wrestlers that you could have put with AJ Styles or like you could build on instead of having this just be like, I've seen him now in a couple of pay-per-views and it's just like y'all are just milking the name and it's just like it's really getting a little irritating. It's like
no, because that's all it is. It's literally just his name value and that's it.
Yeah.
And again, we like Logan Paul as a wrestler. Like he's very
wrestler
good.
is fine. Yeah.
Honestly,
He gets good heat. He does his job.
Honestly, it's just the bonus that he's good at wrestling. Like that's
But
the
yeah,
unfortunate part.
Again, I gave it 3 stars.
2.5.
I was like, it's fine. It's like it's not damaging, but like it's also just kind of like it didn't reach the heights that it probably could have.
I'll go in between 2 and 3/4.
The only thing I will add is during the match, Logan Paul's like right outside the announcer's table, and he goes, "AJ who?" And then Pat McAfee goes, "His name is Styles."
yeah.
Oh yeah, he does say that.
And that was it.
Oh yeah, didn't he have a bit with like a drone?
Yeah, he like he came out with the drone, and then he like does something with the drone. The drone, nobody really cares. Again, it's just one of those like things.
It looked for a second. It looked like 2K.
Yeah.
When
Oh,
the drone was
that one
flying.
shot. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I don't think that was a drone. I think that was like a camera on like a kind of like a dolly, just like kind of like walking on the path.
But the whole thing with like I don't know, what was irritating too. The whole like the cart of Prime just sitting outside the ring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have that at every event now. It's like it's kind of just a staple.
I know it's dumb. I know, like, I don't, like
It was also this one where when they lifted up the skirt, and then we just saw a bunch of
Gatorade.
bottles.
Like,
I'm
what about
like-
the Gatorade out there?
I'm like, that's what
Yeah.
they actually drink.
Yeah.
they actually drink.
Freaking hell.
So anyway, before we get on to the women's tag match, there was something that Michael Cole said that we all thought was really funny because it was a part of the sponsorship. Papa's John.
Papa's John.
he did say it. Yeah, and
No.
with Papa's John's, I was like,
Papa's
what?
John's. He said S's on
He said
the
Papa's
end of both
John's.
of them.
And we just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. We just could not stop laughing.
I had to,
at Papa's John's.
I had to look at the screen because I saw it at, like, I was looking over here and I saw the little logo pop up, and I was like, I gotta make sure it says Papa because like did.
No,
Did they misspell it?
I think he just slurred his words. But it was really funny. And now, every time we get Papa John's, we're just gonna
Yeah,
we
Papa's
got that
John's,
Papa's
yeah.
John's.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I've never heard of Papa John. Papa's John's.
Papa's
you mean?
John's. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
Anywho,
Going on to the next match,
yeah, we got the women's tag team title match.
which was another snooze fest.
Yeah,
Sorry, it was.
I rated it the same as the match previous, mostly because I think Becky's return is a much bigger deal than just having a match just to have for the sake of a match. Obviously there was story in the last match, but it's just like, again, I didn't care. But like, I think Becky's return is a much bigger deal than anything that happened in the last match.
Yeah.
That's why I rated it the same, even if the match was like fine at best.
Yeah.
But
But I mean, going off of it, I guess I'll just say it now. I would have rather seen, like maybe, God, what's your name? Valkyria, Lyra, either Lyra or what's the other champion? What's the champion's name?
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green. A solo match. You know, instead of this tag match.
Oh yeah, that was the first thing I said. Like literally within like the first like minute or two, I was like, it is such a travesty that we have these new women's mid card belts and they're not being defended on
Yeah.
WrestleMania. Like this is the first year that they could do it and they're just not there.
This
Chelsea
is
Green
the first year that they had him.
yes,
Oh my God! Then
Like,
even more. It should
and
have been
Chelsea
there.
Green was nowhere to be seen on
Yeah.
either nights.
Yeah.
I think she was on SmackDown.
But then you have Lyra like go after the tag belts, and she already has a belt. It's like you could have put somebody else with. I don't know if you could have put somebody else.
Well,
with
I think
Becky, but,
they're trying to give her the rub with Becky Lynch.
Ah.
I think pairing her with Becky Lynch elevates her, and I think that she does need that because the thing about Chelsea and Lyra, while they are the mid card champions, one of them is clearly more popular than the other, and unfortunately, Lyra is the one that's not as popular. Even though I love Lyra, I was rooting for her to be the first IC Women's Champion because I think she is good. You know, former NXT Women's Champion. Whether you liked her reign is a different story. I thought it was fine, but she's definitely a hard worker, and I definitely think she can get to the point of being a legit World Women's Champion or whatever you want to give her eventually. But she's not there yet in terms of like popularity. Whether or not that's because you're just not giving her the matches to show her, like at that level, or maybe you just don't believe in her. I think having her paired with Becky, and maybe having like a short title reign. I'm not saying you have to do it like for 6 months or anything, but like a nice like 3 to 4 month reign.
Yeah.
You know, give her some credibility. Maybe have her Becky in her corner for like singles matches and stuff. And so Becky, because I will say this, that they said Becky didn't have any ring rust. There was a little bit, like not like a substantial, like it wasn't enough to notice, but like just like a slight little tinge. Now, granted, I liked that Becky was back, but it was also at the expense of Bayley being taken off the WrestleMania card because that was the original tag team partner for Lyra.
Yeah.
So it was gonna be her and Bayley. And apparently that was also the sentiment with people backstage was like,
Because didn't Bailey go through a couple of matches to get there? Or
yeah, they had like a tournament or whatever
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like, decide. But then she got injured backstage, and they replaced her with Becky. And I get why they did it. Like having Becky come back at WrestleMania, big deal. But again, it's at the expense of Bayley. And I think Bayley, ever since losing the women's championship, has been kind of like on a downward spiral. But I also think Bayley's in the same situation that like Charlotte's in, where they've been around a long time. I think you just start using them to elevate other talent because they are credible. So I'm not like super mad about that. And again, I think if you look at Bayley, you look at Becky would probably have an easier time trying to elevate Lyra than like Bayley. So again, I get it. That being said, the actual match is like, it's whatever.
Well, see, the match. how can I say, go back to night one, didn't like the Charlotte and Tiffany match, but the wrestling was better. Way better than what this match went on. The triple threat match, the wrestling was better. I don't care. This one, I didn't even care about story. Like I said, tag team matches, as long as it's going to be a great match, awesome.
Well, here's the thing, right? There, and I pointed this out. There was no story. Every match that was on both nights had a before the match started, they would have a hype package to like show the story of the match.
This was
the only one that did.
Sure, yeah.
This is literally. It felt like this was literally, hey, let's put this match together.
It was
because we want to have Becky come back.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
That seems like that was the only reason why they did it.
But my biggest gripe about it is that the and I don't know why I always go back to this, but the wrestling was very, very mediocre. And it's like you had the Intercontinental Champion and you had the tag team champions, and y'all weren't wrestling like an Intercontinental Champion and a tag team champions. You're wrestling like a lower card. You know, it was very. I don't know why I always say this, and every time, I don't know if it's like a. Ever since we started back on this journey, every time it's a pay-per-view and there's a women's match, I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know what it is, but it's the wrestling. I always go back to that. Always, especially on the women's matches. Happens sometimes on the men's matches, but it's very, very prevalent in the women's matches. The wrestling's very mediocre. The action, the moves, But then you had the three-way match, and that was great. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it's just the talent, if it's nerves, if it's.
I think it's a few different things. I think when you have multi-man matches like that, if you're not on the same page, it can be a little bit messy. I also think it doesn't help that this is Becky's first match in like a year plus. And again, I'm not saying she was like super ring rusty, but like she had to kind of get back in her groove.
Yeah.
And like, to be fair, Lyra took most of the match.
She did, but even though she did that, I was very unimpressed with her wrestling. It was just like, wow, she's the Intercontinental. Like, don't they have more girls on the roster that could have been the Intercontinental? I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not.
So unfortunately, no. It's like, here's the thing: their roster in terms of like the women, stacked. They have a ton of people that they could use. Unfortunately,
they're not pushing anybody.
They're not pushing them. They're not making them feel like big deals. You know, that's why, again, I go back to the Tiffany Stratton.
Well, didn't Lyra also just recently come from NXT?
Yeah, it's been about a year.
A year?
A year-ish. Okay. I guess she was an NXT Women's Champion. So, like, she is credible. It's just, again, I think what a lot of it is they don't give them the time to go out there and show what they can do.
Yeah.
Because I remember they were supposed to have the Intercontinental Championship women's match, like, crowning, like, the match. It was supposed to be on the first Netflix Raw. And then I think it got pushed like a week or two to the next one. And I was like, this is your debut on Netflix.
Yeah.
You are introducing a new championship. You think you should have that on the first episode.
Yeah.
To make that title feel important, to make it feel like a big deal, you can now get more eyes on Lyra and be like, oh, wow, this is the first Intercontinental, like, women's Intercontinental champion. She might feel like a big deal.
Yeah.
But then you push it off, and it's just like, why? Like, you didn't need to do that. Like, I don't know. It's just, again, I like Lyra. I think she could be better, like, and she can get to a point where she, again, could be one of the top champions. But she's not there yet. I think putting her with Becky is a good idea. But all we can do now is just wait and see, just see where they go. But yeah,
what'd you give it?
I gave it 3 stars. I thought, again, the Becky coming back, I thought was more than enough to give it the same rating as the Logan Paul AJ Styles match, even though I thought that match had better wrestling. I think the story that they were trying to tell there was just like in the grand scheme of everything. Even though this match, the women's tag match, had like no story, like I think Becky just coming back, having that be like a bigger deal.
Well, it had them win the belts too, but I mean, like I gave it a 2. I couldn't give it anything higher than that.
Yeah. I don't know. This match felt more like the Becky announcement match, and it was like, it's all right. 2.5. 2.5.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after a couple duds, everyone's entitled to their opinion. We get to the main event. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for John Cena's potential 17th World Championship. And I don't speak for everybody else, but well, we didn't like it.
It was one of the most boring matches I've ever watched.
We didn't like the finish. John didn't like the match. I thought the match, honestly, the match was exactly how I thought it was gonna go.
Just because you hit 5,000 AAs doesn't make it a good match. Like, oh my God, could you you have him kick out of? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just so. I to get to that point, we had to start from the beginning. So they do their hype package for the match, and then John Cena comes out in complete darkness. I said complete darkness. He had, it says just literally it's just his name, John Cena, in whatever font it was. I thought it'd be really funny if it was in Comic Sans.
Comic Sans, yeah.
But it's literally just his name. He comes out with his regular theme, pretty much in black. Doesn't run down to the ring. Doesn't salute. Doesn't do anything that he normally does. He's just there. And then Cody comes out with motocross guys that don't really do anything besides drive up the ramps.
They're just jumping over the ramp while the
they're
fireworks
they're
go
like
off.
daredevils.
Yeah, but it's so boring. I remember after it happened, Cody then comes out and he's wearing his helmet, and then his helmet does an Iron Man thing. But right before that that happened, I was gonna give my opinion on the motocross thing, but then that happens, and I'm like, whoa, that was cool. That was actually really neat. Those motocross guys are lame as fuck. Honestly, it was lame. It was why? It seems so odd to have that there. It was weird. For a WrestleMania entrance, for John Cena's last Mania match, Cody Rhodes comes out with these motocross guys that really just cross each other, and they're not even doing moves or anything. It's literally they jump off the ramp that's not very high to begin with. It's maybe a very small jump, and at the very end they all come onto the stage, and they just kind of stand there with their bikes and rev the engines a couple times. That's it. It's such a lame entrance.
I don't know. The bikers were all red, white, and blue. There was red, white, and blue smoke going up.
I think
it was a spectacle. It was fun.
It was very American.
I found it very entertaining a little bit.
No, I thought it was lame. I really do. I compared it to his last two, or even his debut at WrestleMania for 38. I was just this is kind of lame. It's just kind of
Anyways, he walks to the stage.
That's a great opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, here's the thing. None of this matters because we're here to talk about the actual match.
Yeah.
So then the bell rings, and they take a little bit to get things started. It starts off very slow. Again, it's very John Cena.
8 minutes.
It's very John Cena to start slow. And we kind of attributed it to they're starting off slow because John Cena's kind of old. Which could be the case. I don't know. I don't think John Cena could go as quickly as he used to.
I think he's over. I think what's irritating me is he's trying to oversell the bad guy, and it's it reminds me. Oh my God! I get a feeling of I'm trying to watch I'm trying to watch John Cena in a movie, and he's purposely doing really bad, so it's ending up being a really crappy performance. And the smiling and the just look at one point, Cody gets him in the lock, and he's and he grabs ropes, and he's all, get off me, and just a face. And as soon as Cody gets off of him, he steps outside and he goes, get off me. And it's just what that was dumb. I don't know. I have a way to keep it slow down, I guess. I haven't seen a lot of Cody's matches, so I don't know if he's really high paced or if he does. I don't know if he fights like Cena does. I don't know.
He kind of does. So
is it more big spectacle move, pause, move, pause?
I think the easiest way to say it is Cody's very much his dad.
Okay. Then
whereas it's very slow and methodical, but it can pick up towards the end. He really likes that old NWA style of doing matches, kind of slower,
which
pace.
is fine.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I like that. That's fine.
But it's just, again, this is your main event. Let's be real. Night one's main event is the main event, asterisk. It's the main event, but Is it like that's up for debate.
It's like there's more.
Yeah.
There's more.
Yeah. Whereas like this is the main event.
It's
This
the
is
last
this is
thing.
the thing that is
last-
closing the WrestleMania
It
weekend.
is the closer.
And it's fine. Like it doesn't do anything. Like they don't really do anything that makes me like go, whoa, that was insane. Like, and again, it could be like the limitations of what Cena can do. Because while he is doing this like 2025 like year end tour thing, he's still doing movies.
Yeah.
And like you have to make sure that he doesn't get injured, so
Yeah.
that way he doesn't cost the movie producers and stuff like a ton of money.
Well, I mean, I counted like I was in my head counting how many different moves they did, and it's like they did a lot of moves, but it was a lot of the same moves.
What was that when he would sit on the turnbuckle and then he would just go?
Oh my god!
Oh,
like
yeah,
that, it's
The
like-
axe handle, like,
the axe. It was axe handles. It was clothesline, shoulder bump, five knuckle shuffle,
Yeah.
the AA.
Oh, and John's favorite was when he put the submission move on.
Oh
On
my
Cody.
god, that submission move! And then Cody did like 3 different moves.
He
9
hit
moves.
He hit the Cody Cutter, the Crossroads.
He hit the Cody Cutter like 3 times, and John made it look horrible every damn time. It's the worst sell that I could ever say of like any kind of cutter. Like, come on, flatten out your body and take a chest shot. Like, you don't need to drop on your hands and knees. It was really irritating and gross.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have issues. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, I think another thing to point out is and I kept bringing it up was the crowd was booing Cody.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
And it
throughout
progressively got worse.
Yeah. And I think it's because
It's
I think it's because they really wanted Cena to win.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
And yeah, I think legit. I think that's just it. I don't think this is the fans turning on Cody. I think this is just them really wanting Cena to win.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is something that like I think Cody needs to worry about, or WWE needs to like take into account. Now, if that's not the case, and he still is getting booed post WrestleMania, like say 3 weeks out, he's still getting booed. Then at that point, you got to pivot and be like, okay, well, what's not working? Like, why is this the way that it is? But I don't necessarily think this is a thing that they need to worry about right now.
Until it starts happening more.
Yeah, until it it does start happening. Anyway, something else happens. I don't really care. Like I said, the match is fine. And then we get a Travis Scott cameo, and he takes like 2 minutes to get to the ring, while Fiend is playing.
Fiend. We just kept hearing that.
Yeah.
Over and over.
And he
He
kind
let
of
someone have an entrance during the middle of a main event match. It was so irritating.
So anyway, he gets down to the ring. He does like a spot with John Cena. John Cena gets taken out. Cody Rhodes like smack talks Travis Scott. He tells him to get in the ring. He does. They kind of just go like talk more smack. Travis Scott goes for the punch. Cody blocks it. Hits him with the crossroads. And I was like, man, Travis Scott's about to hit the worst crossroads in the history of Crossroads.
And it was
And
great.
it looked
looked good.
really good.
It looked
So
good.
I will give Travis Scott credit.
See,
He hit a good crossroad. He took a good crossroad.
that's why I don't mind that he came out. It's like, look, he came out, he did his thing, and then he immediately got shit on. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have been there in the first place. Rock should have been there.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Well,
I guess
we're
gonna-
almost there.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to get to that because pretty much after that,
that's
we get to the
pretty
finish.
much in, yeah.
So John gets the championship belt. He goes to try to hit Cody with it. Cody catches it, and then he's wanting to hit Cena with it.
Cena grovels.
Yeah, Cena's like, "Oh, please don't! You don't want to do this." He's trying to talk Cody down, and Cody's like, should I do it? Should I not do it?" And in the process of Cody thinking about it, John kicks him in the balls. I think he kicks him or hits him.
He
He
gets-
kicks him. He kicks him.
Yeah.
gets
So he kicks,
nutted.
kicks him in the balls, and then John Cena grabs the title, hits him with it. The ref comes back in the ring. 1, 2, 3. John Cena's
Match over.
Match over. John Cena's 17-time world champion. And these two can attest. I went, no way, that's the finish. And then my jaw dropped.
It's amazing because while they were panning through the crowd, I looked at a specific guy's
He
face.
said, that guy's face.
No, and then I looked at you, and I was like, "You have the exact same face."
Yeah.
Everybody was
Because
laughing.
I legit, I thought Cody was
I
kicking
thought he was
out.
going to kick out of it.
I thought Cody was going to kick
Yeah.
out because it's so it's so lame. It's such a lame finish.
You didn't let him win it off the super AA off the top of the ropes, but you let him win it off of a hit to the head and then drag the ref in and then just lay on him, and Cody just does not move.
Don't forget, he got nutted.
Well, don't say it like that.
He got
He got kicked in
shaboinked.
he got shaboinked.
But
there you go.
yeah, I was just like, this is
I like that. That's a new word. We're using that from now on.
shaboinked.
Shaboinked.
But yeah, I thought this was so lame.
It was dumb.
It was the worst thing that they. And Vic kept was like, "Hey, what's the worst thing that could happen?" I was like, "I think Cena losing is the worst thing that could happen." And then this happens, and I'm like,
no,
this is boring as fuck.
Yeah.
Like this is such a lame.
Hey,
outcome.
Don't misconstrue my words, because we were talking about it, and then I said, "Well, okay, so in this match, if they want to make it interesting, what would be the worst thing to happen for both of them, right?
Yeah.
For Cena's side, it would just been him losing, right?
Yeah.
But what would be
Which
really
he should have
bad?
lost.
What would be really bad for Cody to also lose?
Yeah,
in
and
that
I couldn't think of
situation?
anything, but I actually
Yeah.
do think this is probably the worst thing that could have happened to Cody.
Yeah, and then this happened. We're like, oh, this is the worst timeline.
And I have this take, but it's just like, I don't believe that John should have won just because it's to get him to 17. I don't think he deserved to be there. He physically, he did not look like he deserved to be there. It was just to give him 17. It's just like God, it was so annoying. And then what's worse than everything we've talked about is it's like, oh yeah, that's a match, we're done. Yeah, see you at the post show.
Yeah, they just ended
Sorry,
out of nowhere.
I'm gonna have to give warnings for loud yelling. Sorry about that, but yeah,
This was I guess that's it was a ending. And it's like I'm sure there could have been worse endings, but like and Vic was telling me he's like yeah, but this is kind of in character for what John's trying to do, and I'm like, yeah, but like it's
lame.
it's the lamest
It's lame.
version of of how he could have cheated to win.
Yeah.
Like in the best timeline, The Rock comes out, he comes and helps John. Maybe he hits a rock bottom on Cody, or maybe The Rock hits Cody with the championship, and then Cody gets AA'd by Cena maybe a couple times, and then that's how he wins. Like there's ways you could do it. Now I don't know if The Rock just didn't want to show up to work,
Or he was busy.
right, like
he
you're
was
gonna
busy.
build all this to WrestleMania and then not show up.
Yeah. And I think the worst part about this feud is The Rock was just nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
The whole point is John Cena
entire
sold
weekend.
his soul to The Rock,
Yeah.
and The Rock decides he just doesn't want to show up.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
It
infuriating.
It made it stupid.
Yeah. So I don't know what they have planned for the future.
Better be
I
better
don't
than
know.
this.
Here's the thing. We'll probably find out on Raw,
Yeah.
but like this was so lame.
I gave the overall show a 2.5. I think this, since we started our journey on this, watching these shows, this was the worst show for me. Now, granted, it had some really great matches. It had a match that I gave a 5 to. It was still the worst show for me.
No, I think out of the ones that we've watched
Yeah,
together,
just recently.
essentially, yeah, I think it is. I don't think that this was a good build to WrestleMania. I really don't. Like I think, and like, especially in the most recent memory, because you can look at last year, and the build to Cody beating Roman. It felt big time. It felt like this mattered, and you have this feud with John Cena. It's his last WrestleMania, going for 17. He's so desperate. He needs to have it, and he just wins it off of a championship belt shot to Cody's head.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything after that. He just hits him with the title, and it's enough to knock him out. Like,
It should have been a shot to the head and then something.
yeah, no, a shot to the head, like 2 or 3 AAs. Cool. That if that's how you want to do it, cool. I personally would have had The Rock have some sort of interference. You could even have Travis Scott. If Travis Scott wants to interfere and do stuff like substantially, cool. But this is so lame. It's so lame. It's so like it was a lame finish to a pretty
lame
average show.
Average show. Yeah.
Like it again. It compared to like the day before, where it was kind of just like mediocre and then got really good. This started out hot and then kind of just fiddled off.
Fell off. Yeah.
Like it was kind of just the complete opposite of yesterday, where it again fine at best, got better, started out hot and got worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
all I can say is WWE do better.
Yeah.
Like, come on,
like
build some.
I think I just saw my notes. I gave it 3.5. I think that's me being generous. I think realistically, it's probably a 3. maybe even lower. Like, because again, it was a John it was a John Cena match that had a finish that I can't wait to see the discourse.
Yeah.
See what other people are thinking, because I can only imagine it's going to be like
I didn't like
negative.
that the crowd turned on Cody. It was so irritating. Like
Well,
I get because they wanted John to win.
Yeah, well, yeah. It felt less of like a we hate Cody and more like we love Cena,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
But yeah, and then the worst part is John and Vic talked about it. The show just ends. It just ends.
yeah,
Cody just like walks up the ramp. He kind of looks sad about it, and then they just
They
go
cut to,
They
like-
just go
Yeah.
off the air.
that's it.
No Rock. No nothing.
I was like, wow, how
And
anticlimactic.
imagine if they're well, it wouldn't have shown it. It went to post show, right? Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
nobody would have came out after that. It was
No,
done. Yeah.
it was done.
Yeah.
It was done.
It's not like Raw.
because
or
they
SmackDown.
show him going to the back, John.
Oh,
And he just
okay.
walks to the back, and I'm just like,
Oh
They're-
yeah, because he halfway and then he comes back, right? He brings Travis Scott out,
Yeah.
back, and then
and I'm like,
raises the hand.
this is the main event of WrestleMania Night 2.
You could have switched the nights. You could have put.
Honestly?
I still would have been mad about it, but you could have put Seth winning
Yeah,
on night
but then,
two.
but then if that happened, we have something to look forward to. We'd be like, oh, there's another night. Maybe it's better.
Yeah,
And then we would have ended on that.
yeah,
On
yeah,
that.
and I would have been super mad.
We'd be
Yeah,
like-
so whatever.
You
Yeah.
know.
Well,
Yeah, I honestly I don't want to be negative anymore. Like I feel like we've been very negative
yeah.
for the most part.
Look.
Look, there are a handful of matches that are worth your time to go out and watch throughout this weekend. There are like 5 matches I think that you should go out of your way to go and see.
Honestly, just wait on YouTube for the highlights.
Sure, go and do that.
What was that?
And well, again, maybe our opinions will change. Again, Raw, by the time this is uploaded, Raw would have already happened.
Well, my opinion won't change on the show, but
Yeah,
going forward,
but like going
Yeah,
forward with
yeah.
certain,
See how-
with certain aspects
certain
of the show,
storylines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
like again, I'm really intrigued to see where this Rollins Reigns Punk thing goes.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing that I care about coming out of WrestleMania.
Nah, I'm waiting for Braun Breaker. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing
Braun.
for me. Yeah.
Braun.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, that was WrestleMania.
Wait, we missed something.
We did.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
This
so-
happened right
so-
before the last match.
Yeah. So we're gonna run through this real quick because
Yeah,
it's not a fun situation.
It's not.
I can't wait to see if the person posts anything on
And we
Twitter.
might be looking into this more than what it was, but
yeah, we'll give you an update if there is an update to be given. Yeah, so Stone Cold comes out and he to announce the attendance figures for both night 2 and the collective altogether nights. And he's coming out in his ATV, and he was taking forever to come out, and I was like, dang, Stone Cold, what's taking you? You got your ATV or something? And he comes out
and
with his
as
comes
ATV.
soon as he said that,
I was like,
you
yeah,
see
there
his
it
he took out
I was like, you take your sweet ass time, dude. I know you're on your ATV.
Yeah.
He comes on his ATV. So anyway, he goes around the block,
Couple times,
around the
two-
ring,
two times.
But on the last go around,
He doesn't make the turn right.
Yeah, he doesn't make the turn right. He crashes into the barricade and apparently hits a lady. Like I guess like with enough force to like
Well, the
for it to
barricade
become
looked
an
like it
issue.
moved like half a foot.
Might have bumped into her.
yeah. So we don't know if this lady is like hurt or if she's just playing it
Or
up.
just disgruntled or something.
But
Yeah.
after he announces the attendance figures, he like goes out and checks on her, and they have Nick Khan, the CEO of WWE,
Yeah, and a couple
Just
of
there
people with
checking on-
lanyards in them around. There was a
checking
yeah.
on this lady,
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, dude, if she is hurt
yeah.
and she doesn't sue,
yeah.
like they are so
It
lucky.
looked like Stone Cold went to go see like, hey, everything cool, and then he
Yeah,
took off.
yeah, because like unless there's something in her ticket saying like she can't sue,
Yeah,
like
no, that's
I don't
that's
see
an
why-
issue.
Yeah, I don't
That's
see
an
why
issue.
you probably don't.
yeah.
I said the best case scenario is they give her WrestleMania tickets for life, and I was like, that'd be cool. I'd take it.
But also, they can go back and look at it and see if she actually got hurt because it didn't look like she moved at
Yeah,
all
to be
when
fair,
he ran into
I
her.
missed it on the initial watch.
Oh.
I watched it right before we were about to record. And yeah, I was just like, oh crap, like again, it was such a nothing thing, but hopefully that lady's okay. Hopefully she enjoyed the rest of the night. Hopefully she's not hurt.
Well,
Yeah.
seeing how that last match went, she probably didn't.
Yeah. Anyway, with that, it's pack opening time.
Hey.
Jeez, this is a very long
Back
podcast.
opening
This
time.
is a long podcast. We probably should have taken it into 2 episodes, but we're probably just gonna
I
upload the
mean,
one.
we can record something at the
No,
end.
it's
Nah,
we're
so-
at 2:30.
Yeah,
We're good.
we'll just have one
We've
long.
had 2 20s before.
Yeah,
We're
we'll
good.
just have one long episode. Anyway, So
Packs don't take a couple minutes. We're good.
So we have 4 packs. We're each gonna pick one. Got 2 Silver Tempest, 2 Astral Radiance.
Let Vic pick first. He's in the.
Yeah,
bottom.
Vic, you can pick
Yeah,
first.
thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're not gonna roll the dice. We'll just pick. We'll only pick one. None of us are gonna have 2.
Yeah.
I don't know what we'll do with the extra one. We'll figure it out
Why does Palkia look
Use it
like
next week.
Arceus?
because that's Origin form.
Our
Palkia.
next
Whoa.
episode.
You gonna
You
take
go
the
for it, you go for it.
Yeah, okay. I'm probably gonna take this Lugia pack. So John, you have your pick of
Ooh, you may.
Astral Radiance or Silver Tempest. Now, again, these are Sword and Shield packs. I believe we have to do the card trick. In fact, I will do it first just to make sure we have to do the card trick. And if we do have to do the card trick, it is
I'm taking an Astral.
so 1, 2, 3, 4 to the front. And yes, there is the energy. So 4 to the front.
It will be nice. 4 to the front.
Oh yeah, and this is the thing we keep. I don't know if we keep forgetting to mention it or what, but the code cards will be somewhere right here, probably by the WWE.
We didn't mention
Championship.
last time, but I put it in there.
Yeah, so it'll be like right here, where my legs are. So Vic,
Alright.
I guess you go first.
Yeah, go for it.
Leaf Energy.
Nice.
Sweet Honey. Cricketune. Bisharp. Quillfish. Petalil. Nickit.
What? Oh,
That's
Nick
Nick
it.
Yeah, Nick it.
Nick it. You know, like when you nick something.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I'm just
Hip,
asking, I can't hear.
Hippopotas. Cyndaquil. Jubilee Village. And Luxray V.
Oh, Vic, look at you. Vic got a hit.
Nice.
First time in years.
First time in my.
That's a nice card too.
It's a good looking. It's
Yeah.
Luxray too.
Good looking.
It's one
good
of my
looking
favorite
card.
electric types.
Really?
Yeah, it
Nice.
looks cool.
It does.
I like
yeah,
the
yeah,
color
yeah.
scheme of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a good color scheme.
Yeah, they used to be played in control decks.
I'm
Hey.
going next because you're in the lead.
Yeah.
Fire energy. Did not bring my glasses. Lord help me. Pillow Swine. Choi. Yan Mega. Magnemite. Ralts. Sneasel. Misdreavus. Barboach. Upside down card? Or is that? Oh, no, that looked like an upside down.
Flapple.
Looked like an upside down card.
No, it's no, but you got to hit.
Yeah.
That's a hit.
Well, that's a nice Gallade.
Delayed, yeah. That's the evolved form of Rob.
Yeah.
All right, John is now at 8. Vic's at 4, and I'm either going to stay tied with John now, or I can pull the lead.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I got Darkness Energy, Lance, Clang, Krokorok, Vulpix, Snorunt, Fletchling, Esper, Dratini, Baniri, and I got a holographic Dragapult. So now me and John are tied. I did not pull a hit.
And I got one.
Yeah, so we are now at 8, 4, and 8.
I
Yep.
love having half
Yeah,
of
Vic,
that.
Vic still has a huge gap, but
I'm catching up.
yeah, he's catching up slowly but surely. Anyway, this is a very long podcast. We had a lot to say. We had a lot of opinions. We would love to know your opinions and what you guys thought about WrestleMania. Did
That
you?
long? Our last podcast was 2 hours.
Yeah, but this is longer than that.
30 minutes.
Anyway,
Anyways.
Anyway, let us know what you guys thought about WrestleMania.
Yeah, what
If
was
you-
your
if you-
favorite and least favorite part?
Yeah, did you agree with some of the things that we said? Did you not agree with some of the
Not,
things we
yeah.
said? Do you think somebody else should have won and they didn't? We would love to know.
Yep.
Anyway, my name is
Yep.
Ruben,
I'm Vic.
And I'll always be John.
and we will see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.